What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Ackelon here, and as always, joined by Rurikon. Welcome back to Mythic Banter for episode 8. I should check this before we start streaming or making video.
It's a good thing when we start losing track of the episodes. It means we're doing good, man. There's a lot of content. Yeah. I don't even know what episode it is anymore.
But it would literally be the click of a button to just know what episode we're on. Like, legitimately, all you have to do is click YouTube Studio, and it says right there on the first page, episode whatever, right? But anyways, you guys know exactly what episode it is. As always, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much wherever you get your podcast from, and right here on YouTube.
It's funny when you said Apple Podcasts this time. I was like, right, we are there now. Yep. Oh, I'm so happy.
We are there. And the Spotify is actually starting to do pretty well. I don't know if you've checked the analytics on it at all. But it's like, last time I checked, it was like on 126 listens, which if you consider the fact that none of it is ever advertised or marketed whatsoever, I think that's pretty decent. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw that one of our episodes had 911 views on YouTube, and I was like, holy crap, that's...
Yeah.
Because it's good because it's mostly organic. So,
yeah.
You know, that's really good.
Hey, we appreciate all of you guys for watching, for supporting. Hit the like button, of course, because that does help. Or the dislike button if you think we're just talking crap. But still, interact with that video. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've got, again, I think at this point, it's safe to say that the format of the show is an hour and a half of drama. And
no, not an hour and a half. I don't want an hour and a half.
Dude,
we need to get through the drama segments faster.
There's no way to do that. There's no way to do that because every single week, I tweeted this out yesterday, actually. It feels like since 2020, every year has gone, hold my beer, and then just fucking popped off. Like, that's genuinely what it feels like now. It's just every year, things are getting worse. Dude, by the end of this year, there's going to be a news article that says nukes are dropping and people go like, oh, fine. Thank fuck. It's not something even worse. That's how bad things are getting. Like, we're going to be like feeling it's a slow news day if it's only like a couple of nukes. I don't know what the hell is going on with the world. Everything seems to be melting down.
Insane.
You have, and this is not a political podcast, so don't worry, we're not going into like fucking detail here. But you have wars happening all over the world, more people wanting to get into wars. I mean, YouTubers are going, hold my beer, fam. Let me see how fucked up I can be, just a little bit. It's like, bro, can we just chill? Like 1 week of just video game news, all the base games coming out soon. I don't know, dude.
I'm just happy that at least there's some stuff happening around Monster Hunter this week. I've been so happy. I've had a fantastic week when it comes to content creation, bro. It's been amazing. We're going to get into that later, but dude, I'm just happy that there's at least some good news, bro. Yesterday was a really good day for me. We're going to talk about that. It's nice. Fantastic. I'm so excited.
I've just been addicted to LOL. I can't stop playing that fucking game, man. I am so addicted to that game. It is disgusting.
I mean, it's very easy to get addicted to Vampire Survivor-like games, so it doesn't surprise me. Yeah,
roguelike. I mean,
whatever you want to call it. Like, I had a period of time where, you know, when Asmongold played Halls of Torment, bro, that game was my life for like 3 or 4 days straight.
Yeah,
I was like, I can't play anything else. There was at one point I needed to do like a Monster Hunter stream, and I boot up the Monster Hunter stream, and I'm just like, guys, I'm doing really well on this level, guys. I just got to push a little bit. Just let me push for like 30 more minutes. This is amazing.
That's like,
I'm like, I got really good RNG on my abilities, bro. This is amazing.
But that is like me with LOL Swarm. During the week,
exactly. That's why
during the week, I'm gearing up. I'm gonna do an Elden Ring stream because I don't play Elden Ring offline. I only play it on stream. So I'm really looking forward to the stream. I'm going to be playing Elden Ring. And then I sort of get this thing. Let me just do a couple of LOL Swarm games just to warm up. Fucking 3 hours later, I'm still LOL Swarming. I eventually quit and went into Elden Ring. But, you know, it's just what I hate about LOL Swarm is it's pretty much the TikTok of roguelike games.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's only like 15 minutes max per map. right? So it's like quick, easy, to the point, and I find myself actually liking that, which I hate because I shouldn't be liking that. I should be liking long games that really drag you in. And
there's something about our attention span, and to give you an idea, I actively force myself. You know how sometimes you're on your phone and you're seeing something on Twitter and you're like, okay, this video looks interesting, I'm gonna check it out, and then the video plays and it ends and it immediately starts playing another one. And if you stay in there, it'll just keep feeding you videos. And, you know, sometimes I'll get distracted and I'll watch the first video, then a second pops up and I was like, oh, this one looks interesting too. And then I'm like, no, I can't let it get to number 3. Stop. You're hijacking my mind. You're destroying my attention span. I hate you. Stop doing this. I just wanted to see that one video. One. So I always stop myself after the second one to prevent the further degradation of my brain cells.
I don't, dude. I will unashamedly admit I am a YouTube Shorts merchant. Like, I will sometimes just sit there and fucking scroll, bro. Just just mindlessly. I'm not even really watching. It's just something that's on and I have nothing else to do.
But that's the problem. That shreds your attention completely. But
then I read books and that builds your attention.
Yeah,
so
that's
really,
good.
I'm balancing it out. Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't read books.
Reading is amazing.
I wish I had time, dude. I just don't have the time.
I don't know, man.
Because it's like,
yeah.
Listen, I don't even have time to play all the video games I want. If I was to read books, I would have to cut down on the video games I want to play, and it's like, bro, it's too much. I only have so much free time.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There are books, like for example, Warhammer 40K books. Some of the books there are so good that I will gladly give up game time to be reading that book. Right? I'm a huge reader.
Here's one that I can recommend to everyone. I don't know how people enjoy those the Chronicles of Arthur. I don't know exactly how you call this. The stuff about Arthur and the Knights, those types of mythos type books.
Yeah.
So there's one that I believe is called, because I have the Portuguese version, so I don't actually know the exact title in English, but it should be Chronicles of a Warlord by Bernard Cornwell.
Oh, yeah?
Bro, that's it's a trilogy, and it's a more realistic depiction of what the Arthurian mythos could have been.
Oh, wow.
And it is insane, and I love it. I friggin' love it, dude.
That does sound interesting.
To give you an idea, in one of the descriptions is okay, so the battle is about to start. People are already literally shitting their pants. He's actually describing accurately how people are just, they're standing on the shield wall and they're shitting their pants because they're scared because the fight's about to start. Yeah. So it's a very realistic and gritty depiction of what the Arthurian legend could have been.
Yeah.
And I friggin' love that. That's one of the best books I've ever read in my life.
All right. I'll give it a go. Yeah. I'll check if I can find it. But all right, so into actual drama topics, because there's a few. Okay, so we probably should talk about the one that at this point just keeps giving. It's like a little Christmas, Father Christmas, Santa Claus, let's go. MrBeast. Ladies and gentlemen, I made 2 videos on this topic on my Backlon TV channel, and now I made a 3rd video on this because it's just it's consistently getting worse. And
it keeps getting worse.
I'm not really one to farm content, right? So I've never done that, which is probably why I don't grow as fast, because you'll get YouTubers that it's like a dog with a bone. There's a drama topic, and then for the next 4 weeks, it's just drama, that same video. I tend to make the video, cover all of the things that I find interesting and people should know in the video. And then if there's nothing new, groundbreakingly new, I won't go back to it. This thing is just morphing. So to give you guys just a quick rundown so everyone knows what we're talking about, it all starts with Ava Chris Tyson, an employee and a fellow, one of the CEOs of the MrBeast complex at this point, and some allegations of, how do you say this so YouTube doesn't get angry? Let's say untoward behavior towards non-adult people, okay? And these allegations, for the most part,
aren't people coming up with a term that kind of is a more acceptable term to use in these situations to kind of justify this type of behavior, I believe, which is MAP.
Yeah, maps or some shit like that.
It's just a minor attracted person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's so much more better than the alternate description of what you could use.
That is legitimately the very core definition of polishing a fucking turd. Like it is still a turd. Just because you made it look shiny does not fucking matter. Right?
You can polish it as much as you want. It still fucking stinks.
Yeah.
Guess what?
100%, right? I don't use the word maps because I think it's trying to normalize something that absolutely fucking fundamentally should not be normalized in society.
Of course it shouldn't. And the reason that they're trying to normalize it is because, it's not so bad. And that way they can use that type of language on YouTube and whatnot. This is an acceptable term on YouTube. And I was like, what do you mean? Why can't we just call these people what they actually are?
Yeah.
Like,
the only reason we're not using it isn't because we're censoring ourselves, although we are kind of censoring ourselves. It's that YouTube nukes the reach of videos if you use any of those words.
Even just talking about MrBeast, people have seen severe decrease in viewership and shadow banning and all of that because MrBeast is YouTube's golden boy. But it usually, like we even talked about last week, how the first Dogpack 404 video was pretty much shadow banned from YouTube. You could look up the exact title of the video and they wouldn't give you the video. You had to look it up through his username. Yeah, which is a clear indication that YouTube is putting an effort into,
Yeah, I had some people telling me, oh, YouTube does this with all brand new channels. You can't search directly for the video. And it's like, yes, if that is a video with like 0 views or like 1 or 2 views, the algorithm isn't going to catalog that video. So it's going to be harder to search for. At the time of trying to search for the video, it already had 3 million fucking views. I think the algorithm is aware now that this video exists. Yeah. Right?
Pretty much. So it's like, seriously, guys, don't try to justify YouTube being like neutral or something, because I'm going to give you another example throughout this drama segment that you guys are not going to be able to deny, and it's like whatever. Anyway, keep going, because like I said, I don't want these drama segments to get 90 minutes long. Yeah.
So the Ava Chris Tyson stuff, it drops and it immediately shocks people. Then there's sort of counter allegations and people are saying, no, it was just inappropriate jokes. Then the actual Discord messages drop and people are reading through this going, what the fuck? Like, I mean, look, guys, there's inappropriate jokes. There's making a dick joke in front of a 17-year-old. And there's actually making, literally making comments about doing the shit with the 17-year-old. There's a major difference. At some point, it switches from
a corn bot.
Yeah,
there was a corn bot in there, dude. That was just like posting not safe for work stuff around children.
Of course,
come on,
right? And they debated whether or not it should be deleted because there's underage, and it's like, dude, it should never even have fucking been in there. Like my Discord, for example, we have 2 places where not really not safe for work, but not safe for work topics are discussed. And I'm talking mostly politics and shit. You have to DM the mods and ask them to give you access to those channels. Any conversation that happens outside of those channels are banned insta, right? Just getting rid of that shit. And the mods try to make sure that whoever gets into those channels are not fucking minors getting into those channels. And even then, it's not porn channels. It's mostly political conversations and dark humor, right? But fundamentally, and I'm not even a huge operation, we just, try not to have minors be exposed to bullshit, effectively. And fundamentally, so this thing kicks off. The people see the DMs and they're like, whoa, bro, this is nuts. What the fuck's going on here? And then the original guy that was implicated in the first comes out and says, no, nothing's happened. Then it turns out, no, something has happened. He's read through it again and he's sort of read it.
He changed his mind because he was like, actually, no, I was not groomed. Nothing like this happened. This was fine. And then he actually reread the logs and he was like, oh, shit, I was a teenager and I actually didn't realize how bad things were. And now that I'm an adult, actually, this was pretty fucked up. Which just goes to justify whenever you have these people that are saying like, no, some teenagers are more mature than others. No, they're kids. Stop.
The thing that I always... use with that is the exception to the rule does not prove the rule. Is it possible that you get some 17-year-old with the mentality of a fucking 60-year-old? Maybe, right? Maybe. But it's going to be one in a million. So we just exclude all of them. Yeah?
The statistics make it so that it doesn't matter if it's possible. It doesn't matter.
Because it will be so few. It will be so few.
It's not even worth it to consider.
And you are fundamentally doing damage. We know this. We've seen 100%. The fucking research on this. Kids can see things, and I'm talking about corn stuff that kids will see at the age of 4 or 5 that will scar them into adulthood. They don't even know where these urges come from that they have, but it can be traced back to a picture that they saw when they were 4 or 5 years old. So we fucking know that these things are bad for the brain. Kids should not be dealing with this crap.
Let me tell you, I was once vacationing with my parents.
Yeah.
And, you know, because of cost and whatnot, we were all in the same room. And at one point, I was like, I needed to go to the bathroom to get something. And I go in there, and my parents are having sex on a countertop. That fucking scarred me for life, bro.
I am so fucking...
Never forgot that!
Dude, I am so grateful I've never seen that.
I don't think they noticed, because like I opened the door and I was like, fuck! I don't want to go in here. What the fuck is going on?
I am so grateful I have never seen that shit. Like, I am so grateful for that.
I'm telling you, bro, it's not something you want to see.
But, all right, you know, Rurikon's childhood trauma aside. So this whole thing kicks off a massive investigation into Ava Chris Tyson. But as you can imagine, because Ava Chris Tyson is so closely related to MrBeast, it starts to uncover things in the MrBeast empire. And Dogpack 404 really is the catalyst for all of it. He's the guy that ultimately exposes MrBeast in his first video that now sits at well over 10 million views, if I'm not, like, I think even more than that.
For anybody that doesn't know, this Dogpack guy, he is somebody that worked for MrBeast for like 90 days or something like that. So he was on the inside. He saw a lot of the stuff that he's talking about, and this is why he went on this crusade, so to speak, where he's trying to talk to a bunch of different people and like exposing some of the practices that MrBeast has done.
I should just point out, for anyone that might be going, well, he's just lying, MrBeast has now served Dogpack with 2 cease and desist letters. Both of those letters from 2 different lawyering firms say that he is being ordered to cease and desist because he's exposing sensitive business information. Not that he's lying, not that he's making shit up, but he's exposing sensitive business information, which is perfectly fine. All companies have sensitive business information they don't want to be out there. The only problem is what he's exposing is illegal lotteries, illegal sweepstakes, minor bullshit, right? So he's exposing bad things.
And this is one of the things that really bothers me about all this, because I already know that there's been a couple of times where MrBeast has been on like social media and stuff, and people are criticizing him. Oh, he's just doing this whole... fixing people's eyesight for over 1,000 people. He's just doing it for the views. And, you know, when I hear something like that, I'm like, yes, I don't care. Because 1,000 people now get to, they actually get to see properly, which is, tell you what, it's pretty fucking good to be able to see. I can't imagine if I wasn't able to see properly, because that would fucking suck.
Yeah.
Right? So to me, the point that I'm getting at is I don't care what his motivations are. I don't care if he's doing it for the money. I don't care if he's doing it for the clout. The important thing to me is that, hey, look, 1,000 people now get to see. Or the same thing when he went up and built up, like, what was it, 10,000 wells in Africa, whatever the crap.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I don't give a fuck if he's doing it for clout. I don't give a fuck if he's doing it for money. The important thing to me is, hey, guess what? There's now 10,000 more wells in Africa. People can actually drink fucking drinking water That's pretty fucking cool, right?
Yeah.
That's the way that I've always looked at it. I don't care what his motivations are. But it does seem that some of the stuff that he has done is much more performative. And again, it being performative doesn't bother me, but it is also scripted, like the whole thing where Dogpack makes the allegation that a lot of the people in the Eyesight video, they were actually already about to get the operations and all that stuff, which if that's true, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, most of them were, I just want to add here, most of them were going to get it for free or for super, super cheap. So they were already on the list. They were already getting it. Most of them for free or for super cheap. MrBeast, most of those people didn't need MrBeast at all for it. But he made it sound and seem like without him, these people would never have had these surgeries. Which you could argue, okay, but Akko, let's say 800 people were already on that list. But then 200 people got it that were never on the list. Why is that a bad thing? The bad thing is that if he scripted it honestly, no one would have had a problem. But of course, then it wouldn't have gotten all the views, and he wouldn't have seemed like this almost messianic figure that he tries to portray himself as. Instead, he makes himself seem like Superman, when in reality, he's the fucking villain,
And the thing that bothers me is that at one point, me and my community, we actually participated in the Trees initiative of MrBeast, which now makes me question: was that actually legitimate? Did that actually happen? Because like I went and I did a special Monster Hunter stream because it's obviously the stuff that gets the most views on my channel. Because the whole concept of planting trees, right? This is a super important thing because trees are effectively the lungs of the planet. No trees, guess what? We don't fucking breathe, we die. So I'm thinking like, bro, I have children. I want them to live in hopefully a planet that is still somewhat sustainable, and their children's children, and for future generations and all of that. And I was like, this trees thing is actually something that I'm super passionate about. So I made a live stream of the topic that is most popular on my channel, and the whole point was, whatever you guys donate in my stream, and whether that is through people subbing or whatever, even though YouTube takes like 50% of the subs and I don't know how much percentage of super chats, but I was like, I don't give a fuck. Whatever you guys donate in this stream, all of it goes back into the thing, and I will match it with my own donation. And so I just looked up the tweets, and apparently my community made like $160 or whatever. I think it was 160 and some change. And I was like, okay, so I matched that, and we gave away like $321 for Team Trees. Yeah.
I never partake in that shit. I don't give to any charity that isn't local. I only work with local charities because I can see if they're making a difference or not. Right? I had green fuckers? Greenpeace just a few weeks ago stopping me in the mall, going like, you look like a person that cares about the planet. And I'm like, I deeply distrust your organization and want nothing to do with you. And the lady just stood there looking at me like she's never heard that. She doesn't know what the fuck to say. I don't work with anyone. I don't. I get emails every single day from fucking charities wanting to do this, that, or the other. And my answer is always the same: go fuck yourself.
And actually, I just looked it up, and it seems like because this was there was a link that I was able to put in the video, and people then also donated an additional $60 more. So it was actually $381 that we donated towards Team Trees.
And you do wonder if that money made it there because you can't check.
Like,
that's the reason.
What was told to me by MrBeast is that these $381, which I understand, like, a lot of content creators are like, bro, that's fucking chump change. It's like, not for me. Not fucking for me, and not fucking for my community that donated, 160 plus $60 more, the $220.
Yeah.
Okay? Not for us. This ain't no fucking chump change. This is real money.
Yeah.
And the promise was this would originate 381 trees being planted.
Yeah.
And if that didn't happen, because now we're figuring out that a lot of this shit has been lies and whatnot, that fucking pisses me off. It does. It 100% pisses me off.
But you see, this is exactly it, right? This is why I don't, and also I don't believe I don't believe you're a good person when you donate other people's money, but that's a personal thing. So I give to charities on my own, right? Because I I care about what they do, and I can check what they do. But anyways, so Mr.
Did you
Beast,
say I'm a bad person? Fuck you.
yeah, pretty much. No. So the thing with Mr. Beast, right?
I get it.
So back to the Mr. Beast drama. His entire operation is now starting to get exposed. We have allegations of severe abuse. We have allegations of even more bad shit to not adults happening in the company. And now the newest video from Dark Pack 404 just dropped. Now, I've skipped over a bunch of things. You can go back and watch last week's episode if you want the full rundown of that. All of our episodes, by the way, is chaptered. So you don't have to fucking watch the whole thing. There's a chapter that tells you exactly what is where. And so now we get to the next video from Dark Pack 404. And in this video, he actually has an interview with a former employee, like a proper former writer for MrBeast. This dude was, the story that he told, he broke down multiple times throughout the interview, just started crying because of, well, he actually says it. He has been sitting on this for so long, and he's been waiting so long to be able to say anything. I think some of the actual people that work for MrBeast also started to come out and say, the reason no one is speaking up about this is people are terrified of Jimmy, MrBeast. It seems like this MrBeast character, he's not the nice guy that people believe him to be. He will ruin your life if you speak out against him. He's a bad dude, according to someone that is at the moment still working for MrBeast. He had the phone call of the person, and he had to severely change the person's voice just so that the guy would actually speak to him. And the dude made it very clear. If you're going to get affidavits from people, if you're going to try and get testimony from people, you have to move quick. Because one or two of those people will go tell Jimmy because they're afraid of him. And then Jimmy will shut that thing down very, very quickly. So it suggests that he has a lot more reach than what people can think, and he uses that reach.
He's one of YouTube's golden boys now. It doesn't really surprise me that he receives a ton of preferential treatment from YouTube, and therefore he probably has the power to shut down certain channels straight up and just go to YouTube. It's like, yeah, shut this down. The problem was probably by the time Jimmy realized the video was so popular that them shutting it down was going to be worthless because it would just keep popping back up, and it would be this Streisand effect. Like people, the next step would be people just like streaming the video on Twitch, posting the video on Rumble and Odyssey and all of these other platforms, and YouTube's like, well, we might as well get that fucking advertising money ourselves. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, bro, they want that money. It's just that simple.
I'll be honest with you. It's gotten bad. So this writer tells the story of his final days.
I saw the video wherein he talks about the whole thing where there was this video thing where he was supposed to spend 100 days
in solitary confinement.
And the whole concept was that he only had to actually spend 30 days because they were going to script it in a way where he could leave early. Yeah. But it's just like even 30 days of solitary confinement, a lot of people don't understand what that can do to you, especially if you're not a particularly resilient person, which, let's just face it, most of us out there aren't. So like if maybe you're somebody who has military training and shit like that, and you're actually like a fucking
like a Buddhist monk or some shit.
Yeah, Buddhist monk, yeah. Those people could handle this no problem. But a lot of us that live our lives online, you know, the type of person that is walking down the sidewalk with his phone in his hand, just like looking down, which is 90% of the human population now. My kid even noticed this because, like, you know, most people give their kids like phones and shit. Whenever I'm out in the street, my kid goes like, "Dad, why is everybody just looking down at their phones?" I was like, "Yep. That's I wish I could tell you, son, but it is what it is." But you know, these type of people that are like constantly walking around looking at their phone, constantly plugged in, you won't survive 3 days in solitary confinement.
Dude, hardened
let
criminals.
30.
Dude, hardened criminals don't last that long in solitary confinement.
Yeah, exactly.
It tends to be a punishment that is given in days, right? There'll be like 1 or 2 days in solitary confinement because that alone is more than enough to punish a person. And then, according to the Geneva Convention, solitary confinement has to come with 1 hour of sunlight every single day. The lights must be switched off, so you have to have a nighttime period throughout the day. None of these things were given to this fucking not hardened criminal fucking guy, right? The lights were on 24 hours a day.
I'm laughing, but it's really fucked up what they've done to Jack. His name is Jack Weddle. It's really fucked up. Because, like, he was actually telling him, guys, can we turn the lights off? Yep. No, that will fuck up our time-lapse shots. Yep. It's like, bro...
Hey, how can you do this to someone, right?
So, someone in MrBeast team even said, like, we can't even do that to terrorists.
Yeah, we're not allowed to do this to terrorists. You had people at the MrBeast compound that were telling the guys, we need to stop this. He's not doing well. And they were just constantly, they were doing this manipulation thing where they would be like, well, we can stop, but, you know, that's the video done. We're not going to be able to post the video. That's the entire budget wasted. Do you really want to stop? So they're basically guilt-tripping you into just continuing the thing. And then MrBeast comes in, and he's like, you're going to run a marathon. And originally, he doesn't want to do this. Because, again, you're talking about solitary confinement, right? A thing that most people agree is, like, cruel and unusual punishment. Now you want the dude to run a marathon. Marathon runners train their entire lives to run marathons. Yeah. Like, it's not just, you don't just wake up one morning and go, you know what, fuck it. Let's go, it's time for the marathon, right? That's not how that works.
Not to mention, imagine running a marathon on a treadmill. Yeah. Has anybody actually done that?
No, I don't think so.
Because let me tell you something, right? I've done treadmill before because everybody's done treadmill for exercise, workout, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I can't stand 10 minutes of treadmill. I can't, because you're just sitting. It's the same thing with like static bike. I can't stand doing static bike for too long. Not because of the effort or anything like this, because you're in the same place.
Yeah.
You're just sitting. It is boring beyond. It is the most boring thing in my life.
I mean,
I can't. And I'm talking about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He's talking about running a marathon is 24 kilometers. I don't know how much that is in miles, but like, that's a fucking lot. Like, I think a lot of people that don't engage in marathons, they have no concept of how long a marathon is. You're talking about this man running probably like 4 hours. Actually, he doesn't have any training, so more like 6 hours straight in a treadmill. You're insane.
A marathon is 26 miles or 42 kilometers.
Oh, actually, yeah, 24 is half a marathon, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got that wrong.
So you're talking about a thing that you should almost never attempt, or definitely not fucking untrained. You know, it's like, I wouldn't go and run a marathon right now. It would be devastating. But anyway, so he ended up having joint problems, knee problems, blisters on his feet. He had to go to the doctor multiple times to get his body to fucking function right again, because he tried to do it, right? Because now it's for the video and he wants to be a good sport, because they keep telling him, if you don't do this, you're going to waste our budget. We're going to lose all this money and the video isn't going to happen. And I'm not sure if he said this, but it's reasonable to expect that they offered him $10,000 a day for this solitary confinement thing. And you almost know that in the contract of that offer, if he quit and the video didn't get made,
he gets nothing.
He gets nothing, right? So after a couple of days in solitary confinement, after suffering for a while, you don't want to not get anything. By the way, when he finally did have a mental breakdown to the point where they had to get therapists in just to fucking calm him down, he still didn't get all the money, even the money that he had accrued up until that point in time. I think they gave him $100,000 to just go away.
$100,000,
right? Yeah. So this was just the most disgusting display of what MrBeast is all about and what MrBeast's content is all about. And right at the end, they drop a nice little blurt in there about a guy that was called Delaware, who was actually on a list. You guys know the lists I'm referring to. The kind of lists you get onto when you do some really bad things. And I know that there are some, like, even if you take a person public, you can get on that list. This guy was on the list for why the list was designed, right? Why the list was invented, he was on it for that reason. And he worked for MrBeast. Not just that he worked for MrBeast, he was a manager for MrBeast. And they called him Delaware. And the reason they called him Delaware, because he asked them, why do everyone call him Delaware? It's because he's not allowed to go back to Delaware.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's a hoot and a half, joke. Right? It's a hoot and a fuck and a half. And in all videos, he would always wear a mask. Because if you're on the list, your picture is also on the list, because people need to be able to search your name and see if you're actually the person that is on the list. So
it's messed up.
So MrBeast and his team were actively hiding this guy because they knew exactly what he was doing. MrBeast knows all of this.
It's a fucked up situation. At this point, it almost seems like, hey, tune in next week for another update of how fucked up the MrBeast organization is.
Well, we already know that there's going to be a next week, because his part 3 is coming out. And in part 3, he said it at the beginning of the video, he's exposing everything. All of the bad
There's going to be even more reveals of something misconduct. You can fill in the blanks because YouTube doesn't like us talking about it. But yeah, we need to move on, bro, because there's even more stuff to go over. I figure that
I just on a final note, I just wanted to say on a final note about the MrBeast stuff. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I do think if we can learn one thing as a society, it is that the worship of personalities needs to fucking end.
Yep.
We need to stop making people into gods, because it is just nuts. And if you're a parent, please stop making your kids watch MrBeast. Do not allow that shit, because clearly this guy, I don't know if he's going to disappear. I don't know if MrBeast, as far as I know, they haven't even come out with the public anything. Like, as far as I know, MrBeast has not come out with a video.
They made a video which got nuked to hell and high heaven, as you can expect, in terms of dislikes and people, saying, oh, you got to address the allegations. I think MrBeast is going to be forced to take a hiatus, which is going to fuck him over, because, the way that he operates, it's just going to tank his channel.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. But we'll see. Okay, anyways, moving on swiftly to more fucking drama. And this, again, is the top, like, I don't know if it is connected to Boogie, but it's connected to Lolcow, which is connected to Boogie. So we'll just say that Boogie will not be one-upped by MrBeast. You
don't know what this one's about?
Well, I will just say, I just want to say one thing about Boogie. There's now allegations that, the tattoo that he got, the liar tattoo on his
fake.
That it's fake, because he appeared like a fucking nobbin, appeared in another video a few days later, and now it's faded as shit. It's almost no longer there. So people are actually saying that it's a fake tattoo. He never even got the tattoo for real.
I don't know. I don't know if he got the tattoo or not, but the thing to me is, like, you don't just get forgiven for faking cancer because you put on a tattoo. And he instantly started acting like, I've done it. I've done my penance. I put a tattoo that says liar on my face. And it's like, no, bro. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But anyway, the new drama is actually that they got rid of Tommy C.
Who's Tommy C?
Tommy C is like the third host of the podcast, because like Lolcow Live is Keemstar, Boogie, Wings, and Tommy C.
Okay.
Tommy C was like one of the hosts for their more podcast type format. And what happens is Tommy C has a family, unlike all of these guys. Like, he actually has kids. He lives in Germany, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so in the month of July, he was taking a vacation. He's, this was announced, planned 2 months in advance, all this stuff. He's taking a vacation, so he's not participating as much in the podcast. And then he comes back, and people are like, oh, we got to make a show, and you haven't been on the show in so long. We got to get stuff done. And he's like, all right, I can do anything except Saturday. And so, like, then Keemstar comes in, he, like, fucking cattle prods them, and he's just like, you fucking cows gotta go make me money, otherwise I'm gonna shut this whole shit down. And, you know, Boogie and Wings, they fucking panic, because they're like, they need the money.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're like, oh, we gotta get a show going right now. And they decide to make a show on Saturday, which was the one day that Tommy can't do it. Now, before this, there's also a situation where Keemstar wants to have a meeting and whatnot. And Tommy C, because he knows Keemstar quite a bit, he starts going like, well, okay, if we're going to have a meeting, I want to record this meeting, and I think you guys should record the meeting as well for your own purposes. Everybody should record this meeting because Keemstar was going to ask them to sign NDAs. Okay. And Tommy C says, I want to record this meeting because I'm not going to sign an NDA, and I know that you're going to tell everybody that I'm going to quit. Because that was the plan. They wanted to get rid of him because he basically didn't work throughout the month of July because it was vacation.
Yeah,
because you know how content creation is. There's no vacation in content creation. What do you mean? You go on vacation, you make no money. That's how this works.
Yeah.
But you know, so that whole thing starts going on, and then it's hilarious because they start a stream, and Boogie instantly goes off the bat. For starters, Boogie completely fucks up everything because his audio is in shambles.
Of course.
Absolute garbage ass audio, the worst audio. It's like only on one ear. That's how bad it was.
How did you do that even? Like,
he fucked it up so bad. So he fucked up the audio, and then it's like the whole stream of people complaining about the audio. Then he brings in Wings, and Wings' audio is too low. People can't hear Wings. It's a complete shit show of a stream. But he's trying to act all appalled and frustrated and mad at Tommy C. Mm-hmm. But basically, anybody who knows Boogie, like, you know, he's not a confrontational guy. He's a fucking idiot. He doesn't confront anyone unless he's told to by Keemstar. So Keemstar put him up to it to act like all appalled that Tommy C not working during the month of July and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And basically the whole point was they were trying to get rid of Tommy C.
Of course.
And that's the drama. They made this whole live stream, which was a fucking shit show where they're criticizing Tommy C because Tommy C didn't want it to sign an NDA because of the way in which things get paid out. The whole point was they wanted to push him out and they didn't want it to pay him for the month of July. Yeah. And Tommy C's like, I don't negotiate. Pay me my fucking money or don't. I ain't signing no fucking NDA. Fuck you. And it's hilarious.
You see, the thing is, I can understand NDAs from companies like Coca-Cola, right? Yeah. You're dealing with a fucking recipe that is worth gold. If someone doesn't sign that NDA, they can take that recipe and just fucking recreate it, right? Or just give it to someone else. I'm sure Pepsi would love to bring out Pokey, which is Coke, but not Coke, but literally Coke, right? And just take over the market. So I can understand NDAs there. But if you're a YouTuber and you force people to sign NDAs, my question immediately is why? What secrets do we know or deal in that the public is not allowed to know about? Like, Rurikon, I need you to sign an NDA because I don't want people to know that you and I share our topics on Discord before the show.
Yeah.
That's about the fucking extent of the secrets that we're peddling here. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I think you need an NDA
I think the NDA was because he didn't want them talking about how much money the show was making and how much money each of them were getting. So Tommy C just starts his stream with a screenshot of the channel analytics with how much money it made in July. So in July, the Lolcow channel made $25,000, and he's like, I want 6,000 and however much it was of that money is mine.
I mean, I think it's just ridiculous, quite frankly.
Listen, to me, the thing is, this is what this show is. It's all of this drama bullshit. That's what it is.
All right, well, so it is delivering on that. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't watch Lolcow. I've only ever watched it to do research on Boogie. Outside of that, I'm not a huge fan of Keemstar. Not that I think Keemstar is a bad guy, but I think Keemstar is a business first kind of guy. I don't think he actually gives a shit
You
about
mean
people.
like MrBeast?
Yeah, but I think unlike MrBeast, I don't think he's a bad guy, right? So I don't think he will do the exact same kind of shit as MrBeast. But I do think he is business first. He couldn't care less about people. It's all about,
100%.
and I think I have a problem with that, right? I think no matter how rich you get, no matter how much money you make, I think it is important to remember that you exist in a world filled with other people. And those other people matter because they're all like you. Your actions have effects on people. And this is not some socialist, communist bullshit. This is me saying, if you want to be a happy, healthy human being in more ways than just your bank account, because I think there are more important things than just your bank account, you have to have compassion and empathy for the people around you. And you need to be able to at least understand that your actions have consequences. Your actions are going to do stuff to people. So, it's vile and it's disgusting, but, it is drama. It's YouTube. What are you supposed to do? On to more YouTube drama, I guess, although this time...
Last one, please. No
Yeah. Luckily, we're basically over the YouTube drama. Yeah. Logan Paul, I don't know if you saw this. Logan Paul is suing CoffeeZilla.
So let me just tell you something.
Yeah.
Logan Paul is a fucking scumbag, and you can quote me on that. He is a fucking scumbag. He is one of the worst people in the world as far as I'm concerned, and he's just a piece of shit all around. Like, let me tell you, how we were talking about that YouTube gives preferential treatment to some people?
Yeah.
Logan Paul is the perfect example of that. This motherfucker went to Japan, disrespected pretty much everyone he encountered that was a local resident of Japan, made all of us Western YouTubers look like absolute dog shit. He's not the only one doing it either. We also have Johnny Somali giving us a fantastic name abroad, like to the point where if I ever go to Japan, I'm going to be scared to even take out my phone to film just in case somebody thinks that I'm a fucking YouTuber, because our reputation in Japan is in fucking shambles. Okay, because of people like Logan Paul. But basically he goes to the suicide forest, films up a fucking dead body, makes a bit about it, and then posts it up on YouTube like it's some kind of normal thing. Okay, this is sociopath behavior. This motherfucker doesn't care about nobody, and he's a fucking scumbag. And if you ever wanted a perfect example as to why YouTube is brutally biased, let me ask you something. Do you think if me or Akalon go into the suicide forest of Japan, before any of this ever happened, by the way, if we were to go to the suicide forest of Japan, we find the fucking dead body there, we film it, we make a bit about it, do you think we're on YouTube right now?
No.
Fuck no. We would get banned instantly. We would get destroyed.
End of career
incinerated.
Stuff,
Like, there wouldn't have even been a period of it like, oh, we're going to have to demonetize you now, but we're definitely going to put you on a path towards redemption. You'll be fine. It's like, no, bro. They would nuke our channel from existence. You get yeeted and deleted. It's gone.
Yep.
But Logan Paul, he was given all of the opportunities, all of the outreach, and make sure, oh no, we need to correct him because he is also one of the YouTube golden boys.
Yep.
So fuck y'all with that bullshit. And,
but now,
obviously, obviously something that happened with Logan Paul is, besides all of this bullshit, he's a fucking scam artist. He scammed his audience with the Dink Doink coin, which is a crypto pump and dump. Straight up. Just like, I'll just crypto pump and dump millions of my audience who still worship him. Isn't his audience called like the Mavericks? And let me tell you, that is the biggest bastardization I've ever seen of Tom Cruise's Top Gun character, all right? Fuck your Mavericks. You don't represent a goddamn fucking thing. Fuck that piece of shit. And on top of it, he scammed people with a crypto pump and dump. Then he comes up with his fucking Crypto Zoo project, which was run by a known scammer. Okay? Somebody who had already scammed a bunch of other people. He's also scammed people on his fucking Pokemon cards bullshit. So he's basically, there's so many evidence of him just like scamming his fucking audience through the goddamn roof, and nobody cares. Because why? Because he's fucking popular. That's why. I mean, because that's the only thing that fucking matters. He's the golden boy, and he's never going to get demonetized again. He's never going to get in trouble again because he makes YouTube too much fucking money.
Yep. And I should qualify this by saying he came to CoffeeZilla when CoffeeZilla started to expose the CryptoZoo stuff and the coin, and he was like, bro, tell me everything, tell me what's wrong so we can fix it. Like he praised CoffeeZilla for being a phenomenal journalist that knows his shit when it comes to crypto stuff. But of course, this was all just used as a ploy to butter CoffeeZilla up so that CoffeeZilla would hopefully back the fuck off. Because once it became clear that CryptoZoo is never actually happening. By the way, this is a crypto game. Now, do I think that in some universe somewhere out there in the multiverse, in a different fucking timeline where I'm skinny, there is a game called CryptoZoo that functions perfectly and people are making billions off of it? No, I don't, but maybe it could be happening, right? Maybe it could be happening. It is not, however, happening in this universe. The game isn't even out. It's been promised. They gave a bunch of updates about the game, and they just suddenly stopped giving updates about the game when they obviously finally decided this is so much work. Let's just leave it. And then, of course, he blames the government for the fact that the game isn't out yet because the regulations would be way too much for them to actually get the game out. And it's like, maybe check before you try to make a scam if the government is okay with people scamming people for money. I don't know. That would be a good idea before you start taking people's money. But anyways, Logan Paul ultimately had every opportunity to apologize. He had every opportunity to give the money back. In fact, CoffeeZilla, literally the only thing he has been asking for from day one is pay the people back that backed your project. It is as simple as that. Logan Paul didn't. And now, instead of doing that, Logan Paul is suing CoffeeZilla.
And it's funny because there's that video where Logan Paul was actually thankful for what CoffeeZilla had done. He's like, oh man, actually CoffeeZilla the first video that Logan Paul put out was like, fuck you, CoffeeZilla, you're a fucking scam artist, you suck. And then he takes down that video. He's like, actually, no, you're right. You triggered the fire in me. I'm going to make it right by everyone. Thank you, CoffeeZilla. And I do mean that, and blah, 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 blah. And then the thing that he forgot is that CoffeeZilla is going to keep poking and prodding at him like, hey, did you pay people back yet? Hey, did you pay people back yet? And then eventually CoffeeZilla is like, actually, it doesn't look like he's ever going to pay people back. It's not going to happen. And he's like, oh, okay, then now I'm going to sue you. It was also because CoffeeZilla started looking into some other company that he has. Yeah. That is related to some other scam that he's running or whatever. And CoffeeZilla was looking into this company and Logan Paul's just like, okay, that's enough. I need to get rid of you. Yeah. Okay, this is it. And so he sues CoffeeZilla. And, of course, he's a fucking scumbag.
I want to be clear. I tend to take a position of not attributing malice to something that can be attributed to ignorance. All right. So I do think that during the height of the crypto thing, a lot of YouTubers that have no idea where money actually comes from, because let's be real, there are a lot of YouTubers on this platform that make bank, right? I'm not talking about making a living. I'm talking about they're making more money than what anyone at their age is supposed to be making. So they have no idea what money even really is, like how it actually operates. So they see this new thing, this crypto thing, and they see people getting millionaires and billionaires. And I have no doubt that some of them started crypto coins thinking, well, fuck it, I'll just start a crypto coin. This seems fun. And then take their money and probably not even necessarily understand what the fuck they're doing. Or that if you do take all that money out, it is basically killing the coin because that money is supposed to back the coin. That's the whole point of the money being paid into it and people buying the coin. But, so I could see how ignorance was a lot of I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago when the crypto scams were at the peak of crypto scamming. But where it starts to go from ignorance to malice is that after you've been exposed for doing this really stupid thing, you then sue the person that's exposed you. That then suggests that this wasn't done in ignorance. This wasn't done because you really just didn't understand how this entire thing operates. It suggests that you want that money, it's your money, you don't want to pay it back, you knew exactly what you were doing. And what's bothering to me is that we live in a world where there are people that will defend Logan Paul. There are
So
people who will be like, no, fuck them. They bought the coin. They should have known that this is a pump and dump. And it's like, wait, so how? That's like saying the guy that broke into my house broke into 25 other homes. I should have known that he was going to break into my house.
yeah,
I can't blame him
like,
for that.
That's the thing. That this is the philosophy that these people push, which is the philosophy of getting the bag. You get the bag at whatever cost, and it doesn't fucking matter who gets screwed over, who gets dicked over. So when you're saying that there's a lot of YouTubers out there, oh, maybe they don't know, it's like, no, fuck those people. They all knew what they were fucking doing. I don't give a fuck. Like, listen, there's a reason why, for instance, I don't take Raid Shadow Legends money, because I know for a fact that there's going to be people in my audience who they see me playing it, even though they know that my stance on mobile games is I don't play mobile games. I don't like mobile games. I think they're fucking bad for you. They're bad for your brain, and you should not play them. And, even if I was to take it in jest, some people in my audience would fall prey to that trap. This is why I don't take it.
Yeah.
I would need to be in dire fucking straits to ever take Raid Shadow Legends. I'm talking like I either take this or my kids don't eat next month. Dire straits. That is the only chance in hell I would ever do it.
Yeah.
And I would still caveat the fuck out of it. But I understand why
Coming
people,
next week on Mythic Banter. Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends. No, but like the whole point is, right? And Raid Shadow Legends is not even a tenth as bad as a crypto pump and dump, and I still won't do it. So it's like when you're talking to me about how some YouTubers, maybe they don't know what they're doing. Yes, they fucking do, and they can suck on my fucking balls. Yes, they fucking do, and fuck Logan Paul, and fuck everybody who gets, who involves their audience and monetizes the fuck out of their audience through crypto pump and dump or crypto games or NFTs or any of that bullshit. Fuck you. Bullshit. You don't deserve an audience. You're a piece of shit.
I agree.
You're
but this is exactly my point. We have moved into a period of life which I don't know how you get out of this, because I don't know if there's ever been a society in the history of the world that has attempted to do this. We've moved into a place now where morals and principles are dead. It is effectively determined by the individual what is or is not wrong. And I don't know if societies exist like this, because there needs to be at least an agreement on what is or is not good, right? What can you and can you not do? And if we've lost that agreement with between each other, the first thing that breaks down is trust, right? The reason I'm willing to go outside and not aim my gun at every single human being that passes by is I have a measurable amount of trust that the person on the opposite side of the road isn't going to shoot me, right? And therefore, I don't have to keep my gun aimed at them. But once that trust starts breaking down, you very quickly get into a position where you see someone on the opposite side of the road and you think, I should be aiming at this guy just to be fucking sure that he's not going to be taking my shit. And this is where we're going. People just seem to have lost all ability. I was having this conversation on Twitter, like a massive fight broke out over it, because there were people saying, I don't believe shoplifting should be a crime. That's
insane.
Yeah, but the thing is, the argument that they're making is that most people steal out of necessity because supermarkets are jacking up the price and they can't afford food. And like, so they shoplifted an iPhone because they're hungry? Fucking make that make sense. If they were stealing a loaf of bread, I would be like, all right, it's just a loaf of bread. You shouldn't be stealing. Slap on the wrist, eat your bread, go fuck yourself, right? I couldn't care less. But you don't need an iPhone. You stole that because you just wanted it, right? And fundamentally, let's boil it down to its bare and essential principle. If stealing isn't wrong, because shoplifting is stealing, you're taking something that doesn't belong to you, then you should have no problem with me stealing your shit. If I have a reason, right? And my reason could be as silly as, well, I don't think you deserve it. I think I deserve it, right? So I'll just come take it. And you can't say I'm wrong, because we've determined that as long as I have a reason for stealing your shit, it's all good, right? It's just bonkers to me, man. And I hate the fact that we live in this world. It feels like if this happened 50 or 60 years ago, people like MrBeast and people like Logan Paul would just disappear overnight. People would just stop supporting them.
No, but
Immediately.
everybody's gonna defend them because it's like, we gotta defend this person because blah 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 blah, and it's like, like, listen, I've had a situation once. I don't want to get into details, but I've had a friend of mine who did something that was very wrong.
Okay.
Very wrong, and I knew he did it. He confirmed to me that he did it, and I've spoken to the people who were wronged by this friend of mine. Now, I stood by my friend. I stood by my friend because that's what you do. I helped them improve, but I did not fucking defend his behavior.
No.
I criticized his behavior. I tried to make it right by all of the people that were affected by his behavior. And I try to make the best out of the situation, and I stood by my friend because he's my fucking friend, and he made a fucking terrible mistake. He made something terrible. I fucking, it upset me, the shit that he did. And I had to deal with it, and it's like, I tried supporting him as best as I fucking could. And that was that. That was the end of that situation.
You should not give up on people, which I commend you for, right? You should try and help
But
people.
it's like, I didn't defend any of his behavior. I didn't go like, well, actually, that was not that bad. Let's just be... No, it was fucked up. It was 100% fucked up. Yeah, it was. Shouldn't have done it.
I'll say this. I think a big part of my problem with this entire thing is the fact that we live in a world now where parents are trying to be the cool parents, right? Rather than raising their kids, they're they're just kids. I'll give you guys a quick story from my own life. And this is fortuitous because it has an opposite side effect to it as well. I have two sides of the same coin here. I was young. I would say, let's say 5 or 6. I was at the age where I remember this happening, although I don't remember all of the details. And right across our house, we had this sort of cafe, right? Now, a cafe in South Africa is basically like a off license in the UK, or a corner shop that just sells, like, at an extreme marked up price. They sell necessities and chocolates and sweets and shit. I'm 5 or 6 years old, and there's a chocolate that I want. My mom won't buy it for me, and I just take the chocolate, and I don't think it's wrong at that point. I'm 5, I'm 6 maybe. So I take the chocolate and I leave. I get into the car. My mom looks at me and she goes, "Where the fuck did you get that?" She didn't say fuck. She never swore. But she's like, "Where did you get that?" And I'm like, "In the shop." And she said, "I didn't pay for that." I'm like, "Well, I have it now." My mom makes me go back, pay for it. I come back. My dad gives me a spanking of a lifetime that evening because I took something that doesn't belong to me. That has stuck with me to this day. I go to the store and they ring up my shit. And I look at the price and I look at the items and I go, something's wrong here. They didn't ring up everything. And I'll be like, can you just make sure that you rung up everything? Because I think you missed something. Because while you're picking stuff out, you sort of have an idea of how much this is going to cost, right? I'll do that, right? I'll go back and I'll tell people, you missed this or you did this or whatever the case may be. Because that still sticks with me, that moment. My friend...
It's funny, just real quick, it's funny that you say that because I did the exact same thing. But in my case, it was even worse. Because for me, it was a pack of gum.
All right.
I went in there and I stole a pack of gum. And then I go home and I'm chewing gum. And my mom's like, "Where the fuck did you get that?" Again, she also didn't swear.
Yeah.
You get the idea.
We're adding it for effect. We're adding it for effect.
I was like, a friend, I lied. I straight up lied. I was like, a friend gave it to me. It was like, a friend gave it to you, huh? And she poked and prodded and finally got it out of me. All right, I was at the store and I just took it. And it's like, well, it's done now. She made me go back to the store. Like, this was like an hour or two afterwards.
Wow.
I had to go there to the store, which was not super close to the house. And I went there and I paid for it and I apologized and all of this. And then I went back home.
Yeah.
I think every kid has tried doing that at some point. Just like, I'm just going to take this.
Well, here's the story. My friend, childhood friend, I grew up with this. I've known him since I was like 7 or 8 years old. He did the same thing. Also went in the store, took something that his mom didn't pay for. And my mom told me this. I wasn't there. I didn't hear this. Remember, my mom told me the story. She immediately looked around and she was like, "Did you pay for that?" And his mom's like, "Where did you get that?" And he's like, "In the store." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't pay for it." Haha, kids. And they just left, right? Oof. My mom, this bothered my mom to fucking crazy, but she doesn't want to be. So she went back afterwards. Like when she finally got home, she walked across the road and went to go pay for the thing that he took, because this was a problem for her, that he's just taking shit that he's not allowed to take. And so growing up, right, I always just had this thing where I will not take something that doesn't belong to me. And I remember we were like 16 or 17, and the one day my friend is being attacked by like a group of our friends. We have like this huge friends group, and they're attacking him. They're like not very happy with him. And I'm like, "What the fuck's going on, boys? Like, what's happening here?" And it turns out that he stole about $500 from one of the guy's parents. The parents, they were at his house, and the mum had her wallet there, and the money was in the wallet, and he just took it. There was another story of him getting caught shoplifting. He just shoplifted a bunch of shit, and the security guard arrested him, and he phoned my mum to try and help him get out of it. And she went down to the store. She spoke to the store owner. She paid for all the stuff. But then she got him, like, he had to work for like two months for free every weekend at this store, or else they would press charges against him. And it just, the reason I'm telling you this story is it is so important, if we have parents watching or would-be parents watching, how you handle the things your children do when they're young is going to inform who they're going to grow up to be.
100%.
You have to nip that kind of fucking behavior in the butt. They have to learn what the right and wrong things are.
Like, for instance, Logan Paul is the kid who just took something from the store and just kept taking shit from the store.
Yeah, and his parents probably laughed at it.
Yeah.
He's probably
exactly.
Probably laughed at it.
This is why he's so chill about, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna rip a bunch of fucking people off with this crypto pump and dump, and then I'm just gonna rip a bunch of more people off with this crypto zoo bullshit. Yeah. And now that it's getting exposed, I'm just gonna sue this CoffeeZilla guy into fucking oblivion.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Anyways, off from the moral
gaming topics.
Lesson. Yeah,
let's go.
Well, don't get so angry, Rurikon. Did you know that you're a liar?
I am?
Yeah, PC Gamer has decided this.
Yeah.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's fucking terrible. I can't believe that they would do that.
Yeah. So PC Gamer came up with an article. So for those of you that don't know, community notes on Twitter is phenomenal. And it is so fun to see people being owned by community notes.
Yep.
Because it is just so classic. Someone will say something with their full chest out, just so proudly stand on principle. And then the community goes, actually, this isn't from there. You're just fucking lying through your teeth. This is actually what happened. And then they provide all of the sources. In fact, it's worked so well that YouTube is now experimenting with the community notes feature. They're going to add this to videos on topics where the community will be able to make notes. Of course, YouTube is still trusting the mainstream media, so they're going to have a panel of third-party experts that will determine whether or not notes are indeed helpful. I don't know why, because the community notes are pretty much always on point. I don't think I've ever seen a community note, because the community notes tend to offer actual evidence. They will give you the actual sources of what's going on. But of course, YouTube being part of the mainstream, or really desperately trying to become mainstream, they'll have a third party. Now, PC Gamer is celebrating this in probably the most honest and well thought out journalism piece.
Of course.
Journalism piece you'll ever fucking see in your life. This is why I despise the mainstream gaming media with everything fucking in me.
See, I'm not as against mainstream gaming media as Akalon.
Oh, I hate them.
But articles like this make it really fucking hard not to be. Because I'm like, you know how people say all gaming journalists are bad? I don't believe that.
All.
I think that...
All. Across the board. If we had gulags... I would
look,
send all of them to the gulag.
That's your prerogative if you want to believe that. I don't believe that. I think that there are still some gaming journalists out there that because I'll see like an article or whatever, and I was like, okay, that was actually a good article. It happens from time to time. So I think there's definitely some gaming journalists out there that are good. There's also a lot of gaming journalists out there that are bad. A good example of that would be the easiest thing for me to instantly pull out be Alyssa Mercante. I think that she's a terrible gaming journalist. Yep. She's just there to divide the gaming community. She doesn't give a fuck about anybody. So that's just my thought process on that. So there are some that are good, some that are bad. Pretty much like everything else. There are some YouTubers that are good. There are some YouTubers that are bad. I'm not even saying that I'm good or that I'm bad. I'm saying that Logan Paul's a piece of fucking shit.
Yeah.
So basically, like every community, I think that look, there's good gaming journalists and there's bad gaming journalists.
There's the reason
very much like there's good YouTubers and there's bad YouTubers.
Yeah, but the reason I can't agree with you is YouTube is a game that everyone can get into. Journalism is not a game that everyone can get into. It's very much gatekept. And I think these companies like PC Gamer, they gatekeep to get the people that ideologically align with their positions.
Why do you think that gaming journalism is gatekept? Do you think I couldn't be a gaming journalist if I wanted to?
If you wanted to work for PC Gamer, you would have to have a very specific bend through which you write.
But I don't have to work for PC Gamer to be a gaming journalist.
Yeah, but you would have to. The only places where I can see your argument making sense would be, at this point, very small. They're brand new. But you have companies like, for example, something Park Comics or some shit like that.
That Park Place?
Yeah, that Park Place. You have a comics one that's also very balanced, at least. You have,
the thing
but those are three. Niche Gamer.
I believe if I wanted to work for PC Gamer, which I don't, but if I wanted to, I could potentially get into PC Gamer.
I doubt it.
Or I could potentially work for Kotaku. I
highly doubt it.
A lot of these.
Here's why I doubt it.
You look at the quality of articles that they are putting out, and it's not like it's. I don't think you need a degree in journalism.
That's not to get into. No. That's not the point. I'm not making a point about degrees. If anything, you need to not have a degree. The fact that they have degrees just tell you how fucked it is to have a degree. You need, in order to write for PC Gamer or for Kotaku or for any of these mainstream, you need an IQ that is barely lukewarm, like as low as possible, lower better, actually, in fact. And you have to have a very specific ideological bent. If you are not far left, socialist, communist, hate gamers with everything in you, hate straight white males, you're not getting that job, bro. If you try to write an article for Kotaku saying that Stellar Blade is actually a really good game, they will fucking nuke your employment there insta, because they're political activists. I don't even want to call them journalists because they're not. They're just a bunch of political activists that have decided they hate gamers. Notice, for example, this article from PC Gamer about the YouTubers. If you're a journalist, you are supposed to peddle in truth, right? And journalists, back in the day, would have to provide actual evidence and sources for the claims that they're making. This guy comes out. He's fucking opening... this is the opening. Just listen to this. You know when you fire up a YouTube video, and within the first 2 minutes, the guy from the thumbnail has already said something obviously untrue. Where's the source, bro? Where's the evidence? Show us this video that you're referring to of a YouTuber saying something obviously untrue. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I
can show it to you. We just go to Lolcow Live.
Yeah. But remember, if you're a journalist, remember, this guy's trying to make a point here. He's trying to say he can't wait for the YouTube community notes feature because it will finally call out all these lying game YouTubers. Notice, of course, that he doesn't provide evidence or sources for these lying YouTubers that he wants community noted. Because I can tell you already, there's this fuckhead on Twitter, Jamie or some shit like that. The dude has over 30,000 Twitter followers, and he has a YouTube channel. He's literally called the Xbox Gamer or some shit. And his YouTube channel has something like 163 subscribers. because his content is basically just licking Xbox's balls. That's it. He praises every fucking game, and every game that comes out on the Xbox Game Pass, he just goes, "Can you believe these graphics?" And this is on the Xbox Series S. And it's like, yeah, I can. I play on PC. It's twice as good. You should try it sometime. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? 60 frames per second. I do this in 144. Shut the hell up. Like, he's just a puff piece bullshit artist, but he pretends to be a YouTuber, and you can see that people don't actually give a shit about him, right? But anyways, so I'm not suggesting that YouTubers are infallible and that YouTubers don't lie. What's rich is that this journalist is saying that the community feature will finally hold these fake YouTubers to account. And it's like, no, it's going to hold you to account when you put out videos and articles about bullshit. Notice how none of you would ever have a community notes feature on your fucking articles because you would get dragged for it. And I'll give you a great example of why I don't trust any game journalists. Paul Tussey. Paul Tussey has had some phenomenal articles where he actually exposes a lot of good things. But then the next day, he will have an article that is so false, so absolutely untrue in everything that it fucking asserts, that you just go, like the Stellar Blade stuff. Paul Tussey was 100% Stellar Blade is just over-sexualization of females, and it's just a disgusting display of what. And you're just
we have a Paul Tussey article coming up after this.
Yeah, Paul Tussey. The thing is, they will have at least some of them. So Jason Schreier, for example, is another example of a guy that every once in a while he'll have a very good, well thought out article that you just go, whoa, okay, this is really good.
Yeah, like
right?
his Destiny article is probably really good.
But then I
haven't seen it because you got to pay for it. So,
but then you also have them saying just dog shit stuff, right? Just absolute untrue stuff. Paul Tussey, for example.
I remember having an argument with Jason when he was basically peddling that, everybody's so appalled that these Assassin's Creed Odyssey microtransactions, I think they're fine. There's literally a video on my channel that says, "No, Jason, these microtransactions are not fine." that's the title of the video.
The thing is that Paul Tussey, for example, also famously anti-Gamergate 2.0, right? Just calling all the Gamergaters racist pieces of shit. When I have multiple videos about Gamergate warning my audience, gatekeep the fuck out of this movement, because you will have racists that try to hijack this thing and turn it into their own little thing. We are not against people of color playing the main character in a video game. We are not against women playing the main character in a video game. We're against these characters being used as tokens for your political fucking activism. That's what we're against, and we should gatekeep the shit out of this. And then you have people like Paul Tussey and Jason Schreier, just basically blanket statement, they're all racists. They're just racist. Yeah. We can ignore them.
It's the same thing that PC Gamer is doing. It's basically like YouTubers love to fucking lie.
Yeah.
That paints a blanket statement. All YouTubers lie. There you go. You're all fucking liars. It is what it is, right? I don't appreciate that stuff. I think that's not cool. And when it comes to the stuff you're talking about, Gamergate, now, when the first Gamergate happened, I distinctly remember that a bunch of websites instantly they literally colluded, which is hilarious to me, that whenever people talk about Gamergate, usually the stuff that I hear is about how everybody in Gamergate was a racist, a bigot, blah, 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 all of this bullshit. I usually don't talk about this stuff on my channel because people, for some reason, they instantly like to take sides when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
But to me, I find it hilarious that what is more talked about is how the movement was about harassment and racist campaign, but nobody wants to talk about the email listing of when these websites basically colluded to all post basically the same article on the same day to flood the whole news stream and completely control the narrative, painting all gamers as being super evil, racists, bigots, and all that stuff. And I was like, there's just not fair coverage around this. There's just not.
But this is where, this is why I tell you, if there were gulags, bro, off to the fucking gulag bowl.
That's the thing. I don't think that all gaming journalists are bad. I don't. I don't. As a matter of fact, I recently had a gaming journalist who I respect in my podcast.
Well,
I had a podcast with me fighting Cowboy and Gene Park, and it was awesome.
It's
and,
fine. It's fine.
It is what it is. I don't agree.
If there are any game journalists watching this and you want to challenge me, I welcome you on the stream. Until such time, you're a fucking scumbag. Start a YouTube channel. Start your own Substack.
I don't agree.
Start your own Substack. Do something else. But I do not trust you. If you write for any of the mainstream platforms, I do not fucking trust you. It's as simple as that. Because you have shown yourself over and over and over again to be an enemy of the gamers. We don't want you. If you died, no one would mourn. At least not in this space. Maybe
Jesus.
your parents. But anyway, so they call out the YouTube. Yeah, dude, I am fervent. Like, if I am not a guy for war, but I would gladly start a war against games journalists.
I don't. I think you're a little bit too deep in the sauce with that stuff. Like I think, as with every community, there's good people and there's bad people. Because here's the thing: there's not that much money to be made in gaming journalism.
Not anymore, because people have finally realized they are the enemy. And
there's never been.
I'll say this to you, right? However much people hate game journalists, it's not enough.
It's not enough. Yeah, I've heard that one before. No, I don't. I don't. Again, like I said, there's a lot of I agree with you that there's a lot of gaming journalists that deserve that level of hate, particularly the people who are like colluding and making sure we need to put out this thing to make sure that we get this narrative going and all that stuff, which has been proven to happen.
Yep.
This is proven. This is not like me making shit up and conspiracy theories. Like, it was revealed during the first time that Gamergate happened. This is one of the reasons why John Bain, rest in peace, this is one of the reasons why he was supportive of the original Gamergate movement right up until the point where it started, being infiltrated by a bunch of people that actually were racists and harassment.
Yeah, it was always going to happen because they didn't gatekeep.
It always happens, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, to me, there are still people out there that just like video games and they want to talk about video games. There 100% are, because again, this is a passion-built industry, and there's quite simply not that much money to be made unless, like, for the people that are in the pockets of publishers and shit like that. Yes, there are some people that are getting bribed and all of this illegal shit is happening behind the scenes. 100%. I agree. Yes.
Dude,
not everybody is getting paid.
I can't agree with that. And here's why, right? And when Stellar Blade came out, every single one of the main media had
not
bad
every
things to
single
say
one.
about Stellar Blade. Then Hades 2 comes out, which is just as fucking sexualized with gold boss mommies. And
Yes.
all of them are praising Hades for the exact same thing that they're criticizing Stellar Blade for.
You are suffering from bias, because I've also seen a lot of people that were like, no, these people are wrong. I've seen people, gaming journalists that were disagreeing with other gaming journalists that were actually like, no, actually, it's not as bad as these people are saying. Here's my thoughts on it.
From
blah, blah,
where?
blah. The thing is, dude, you expect me to remember? This was like, what, fucking 3-4 months ago? I've seen those articles. I can assure you they exist.
Maybe someone in the comment section can let me know. If there are journalists that actually went against the narrative, I would love to see it. Because I saw Kotaku, I saw PC Gamer, I saw individuals.
You saw Kotaku.
Hold on. I saw individual journalists, right, from IGN and all those fucking places on Twitter dragging Stellar Blade. I even saw articles from journalists that you can tell from the fucking article they're kind of excited for Stellar Blade, but then the article is structured in such a way that they're calling Stellar Blade out for all of
100%.
the female stuff, but then just trying to so they're trying to be on the side of all their game journalist buddies, but also, trying to say, it might actually be good.
Here's the question that I propose, because we do have this tendency when we're making content, we seek out things that prove our point. Did you try to seek out things that don't prove your point?
I always try, right? I always try. And in this instance, I will say, because our next topic is about Game Informer, right?
Yep.
In this instance, I have said publicly that Game Informer is one of the least worst fucking sites out there. They still have some terrible fucking journalists that work for them, But they would every once in a while, at least. And this is why I say to you, someone like Jason Schreier, he'll have good articles that you genuinely point to and go, dude, this is a good article. But then you'll also have bullshit articles that you just go, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Paul Tassi, same thing. Some good articles, you go, this is actual journalism. This is why we need journalists. But then you'll also have just nothing, right? The fact that MrBeast stuff is coming out and there's just a bunch of people quiet on the whole thing. Like, no one's, like, most of the big names are not even saying fucking anything about this. It's like, you cannot convince me that these people aren't just evil. And by that, I'm sure that there are people that work that work in the games industry that genuinely still love it. But I don't see that evidence in front of me day in, day out. And you are right. I will be the first to admit I am biased as fuck on this.
But the thing about that is because, as we know, the algorithms, especially nowadays, whether that's Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, whatever the fuck, they favor negative coverage. That's just it. The more controversial something is, the better.
But
this is why Kotaku is probably...
Yeah.
Listen, this is why Kotaku is probably super happy about Alyssa Mercante being as controversial as she is.
I don't know about that.
Her shit brings... 100% they are, because her shit brings in views. It's rage baiting. They're rage baiting you. It's that simple. But it's like, hey, look, a rage bait click is still a fucking click. That's the way that they look at it. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but the problem is, of course, most of them are losing money hand over fist because they're evil little scumbags, and I can't wait for this industry to die in its entirety.
Yeah,
the gaming industry will lose nothing as a result of their...
No, but listen, that's the thing, right? So Game Informer got shut down by GameStop. Yeah. And I believe that you put out a tweet where you expressed like, fuck yeah, fuck them, let's go, something like that. Right?
Yep.
And it's like, to me, I don't agree with that. I think we need both things. I think we need the YouTube people and we need the mainstream people. Because the thing that has happened in the past is that all you had was the mainstream, so they could pretty much form whatever narrative they wanted, and it is what it is. You get what they feed you, and there's nothing else. But now you have the counterculture that YouTubers provide, which, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, oh yeah, every YouTuber is 100% correct. Shit, I probably fuck up a bunch of times. It is what it is. But it's like, you have this push and pull. And I think that you need the balance, because here's the thing. Do you think that YouTubers, most YouTubers are going to have the level of access that a lot of journalists have nowadays? Like, how's that going to work?
I think it will start out.
Like, for instance, for our show, I have here 6 articles from mainstream media websites about news that I would not know about if they hadn't reported
but there is a reason for it. YouTube is new media. A lot of YouTubers are just starting out. If you take some of the bigger YouTubers out there, right? So you take some of the guys like Force Gaming, for example. Right now, those YouTubers, I'm not saying Force Gaming, I like him very much, and he wouldn't need that. But right now, those YouTubers don't have to have investigators, right? They don't need to pay investigators because the journalists are doing the investigation, and then they can just call them out on their bullshit because that's easy to do. But once those journalists go away, someone like that will absolutely start hiring investigators, right? They'll start getting their own investigative journalists to start looking into this because they want to be, and it's already happening. You already have YouTubers that have investigative teams that will go out and look for the evidence themselves. It's happening in so many communities across the world, right? And it is going to happen. It is going to happen. New media will eventually become businesses as these people start to realize that there is a business here. The thing that I like about YouTube is that it is a lot more real time than these articles are. What I mean by that is, if you're a YouTuber and you put out something that is just obviously fake, you don't have control over your comment section. You can't really control the comment section. People can call you out. People can take your video, put it on Reddit, and say, this guy's full of shit, and here's why, right? It's so difficult for you to control the narrative on your own YouTube channel. You can probably sit there and delete every single comment, but people will very quickly realize you're deleting people's comments, right? And then they'll stop trusting you anyways, because why are you deleting people's comments? Whereas, so the tools that we have to hold YouTubers to account is a lot more real-time and in the hands of the people than on these mainstream sites. You have some of these mainstream sites that don't allow comments at all. Some of them allow comments, but only comments that are approved.
And let me tell you something. That and by the way, in no means am I advocating for the removal of these tools. I think that we should definitely be held accountable. But a lot of times, those tools are not the most accurate way of portraying things. Because, for instance, during the Dragon's Dogma situation, not sure if you're aware, wherein so Capcom sent out review codes for Dragon's Dogma 2.
Okay.
And there were review codes sent out to US content creators and to European content creators. I'm on the European side of things.
Yeah.
And basically I reported on it. I made my it was not a review, it was more like an opinion piece because I didn't get to actually finish the game, but I made my opinion piece where I said, okay, here's what's good, here's what's bad, blah, 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 boom, done. And then I just play the game. I just live stream the game because I love the game. I still enjoy the crap out of the game. I think the game's awesome. So I'm playing the game, having a good time. And on the day of release of the game, it is revealed that there's a bunch of microtransactions that were added into the game.
Yeah.
Now, I did not know that these microtransactions were in the game. So the moment that the microtransactions were revealed, I go live on my stream, and I was like, okay, guys, so this just fell on my lap. Here's what's happening. Here's what the microtransactions are. Here's why I fucking don't like them. Here's why a lot of them don't really matter. But basically, I explained every single microtransactions, why I didn't agree with it, and why I thought that it was pretty much mostly not needed. I did this the second that it was revealed that there were microtransactions. And in my video, I specifically say I did not know that the game was going to have microtransactions.
Yeah.
Now what happens is, Fighting Cowboy, good friend of mine, comes out on Twitter and says everybody knew about the microtransactions. Because he has an email, and in his reviewer's email, it says, by the way, these are microtransactions that were going to be... It wasn't exactly this wording, but basically in his email, there's a disclaimer that points out that there are microtransactions in the game and whatnot. And there's a detailed listing of all the microtransactions that they were going to be releasing onto Steam in his email.
Okay.
And so when Fighting Cowboy says this, everybody's like, so wait, everybody knew about the microtransactions. And when I see Cowboy's thing on Twitter, I was like, fuck, did I miss that on my email? I go back to my email. I read the whole email. I read the whole reviewer's guide, which I usually don't even read reviewer's guide because they tend to spoil shit and whatnot. But I go through the reviewer's guide and I was like, there's nothing here. And then I go back to Fighting Cowboy's tweet. I was like, what the fuck? And I go back to I did this like 4 times, back and forth. I reread my email 4 times. I was like, there's fucking nothing here. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because Fighting Cowboy is a huge content creator and now everybody thinks that I'm a fucking liar.
Okay.
So people start going into my video because I made I cut off the video from that live stream and I made its own video to make sure that I highlighted that I don't agree with these microtransactions. I don't like them. And here's why they're not good and all of this shit. And everybody is jumping in there saying, Rurikon's a fucking liar. I'm never going to trust you again. I'm unsubbing from you. I fucking hate you. And the usual hateful shit that you get. And it was only later, it went down to a point where like, Fighting Cowboy had a conversation with Asmongold, and they were both talking about this. And in that conversation, they concluded, because I had also been talking with Fighting Cowboy, that there's like the European content creators did actually not receive the information about the microtransactions because the emails were different.
Okay.
And so what happens then was that people were trying to hold me accountable for something that wasn't true and that I did not know about.
Yeah.
And, at a certain point, I didn't delete any of the comments. Like, hey, you want to call me a liar in my own video? Fucking go right ahead. I don't give a fuck. As long as, people aren't going 2 giga hardcore and start posting slurs or shit like that, I don't care. Do whatever the fuck you want. And at one point, I was just answering, okay, look, dude, take your pound of flesh. I don't care. Whatever the fuck. Do whatever the fuck you want. Well, but yeah, so it's like when you're saying that, like, oh, the tools to keep people in check are always fantastic. Not always.
I never said they're always fantastic. I said they're better than what exists on the mainstream media, because the mainstream media has no tools, right? And look, viewers giveth and viewers taketh away. That is just that is just what it is, right? But the fact that they could hold you to account, even for something that is wrong, just speaks to the power of these tools. Now, once you have community notes in there, and the community notes isn't governed by some third-party bullshit political activist, you'll probably have a lot more honest conversation that can happen around these things. But that is not going to happen on the mainstream media sites, because they don't give a shit about that. So when you see Game Informer shutting down, I don't even care, because some people say to me, oh, but they're actually one of the better ones. It's like, I don't care. You don't seem to understand something. I want them to burn down all of them. All of them.
I don't.
I want them gone. I want them out. Especially,
listen,
I would say,
Echelon.
wait. Let me just finish this point, because I'm going to forget this, right? The legacy ones are the ones that I want to see burned down. There are a couple of new ones that have started up in the last few years that are actually good. And they've started up as a result of counterculture, right? They're the opposite side of the coin. But I'll talk, for example, about Niche Gamer. Niche Gamer is one that, on the Gamergate stuff, is 100% on the side of the gamers, because they call out the bullshit from the people that are in the mainstream. But they've also put out articles against some of the YouTubers and the gamers and the stuff that they do that are also very fair. So it's clear that a lot of the journalists that infects places like Kotaku and PC Gamer, the ones that worked there that wasn't infectious, that didn't want to do this shit, they probably left and is now working for places like Bounding Into Comics, which can sometimes have some cool articles, Niche Gamer, that Park Place. They've started to work there because at least there you are able to speak honestly and openly. So I do want to say, though, I'm not against games journalism as a practice. As a practice, I think you need journalists, but I think these legacy sites like PC Gamer, like Game Informer, like Kotaku, I think these legacy sites have become political vehicles pushing specific ideologies, and they'll do that to their deaths. Because Game Informer closing down because the money is drying up. And the reason the money is drying up is because no one trusts these companies, because they keep lying.
But here's the situation.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that light is the best disinfectant.
I agree.
So it's like having these viewpoints, the fact that a lot of these websites push these narratives and all of these things is one of the reasons why people have been able to start correlating all of the stuff that is being said, the agendas that are being pushed and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So them being out in the public, I find that to be a good thing. Whether that is because there are some articles that I'm genuinely interested in, when they're actually doing good reporting, or even when they're trying to push their narrative and it's just blatantly obvious that they are pushing the narrative. Both of these I see as a positive, because if they're pushing a narrative, then the YouTube counterculture is going to basically challenge them on it and is going to expose them. And if they are actually putting out good journalism, we also benefit from it, because we get to talk about whatever topic is in the current thing. If they disappear, basically it's going to become subterfuge, and those agendas are going to be in hiding, and they're going to be revealed in other more nefarious ways. So right now we know where they're coming from. Once they go into hiding, who the fuck knows where they're going to pop up?
Yeah, but I feel you're ignoring something. Sunlight as a disinfectant means it kills the virus. These sites closing down is a result of sunlight killing the virus. Where I would agree with you is if suddenly the government stepped in and forcibly closed these sites down. There I absolutely agree with you. Wait, what the fuck are we doing? Right? You should allow these companies to kill themselves, which is what they're doing, right? Not a single YouTuber went into Game Informer's offices and blew it up or some shit like that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Anyone watching, right? They're closing down because the gamer is starting to realize that when IGN puts out a piece, you need to take that shit with a grain of salt, because you need to go see what are they saying actually and what is the truth? And oftentimes the truth is the opposite of what they're saying. So at some point, gamers went, why am I even reading this bullshit? Like, I know most of what they're saying is lies. Why am I reading it? So it is sunlight cleaning the virus. And I'm not against, I just want to be clear, I'm not against sites existing that is more left-wing or sites existing that is more right-wing. I think that is important.
Now
there
we're getting into politics.
No. I'm talking about in the gaming space, right? So gaming also has its left and its right wing, which isn't conservative or liberal. I don't think gamers are that conservative overall. But it is. Gaming has its two sides as well, right? Left and right is probably a bad idea because people immediately think politics. I'm just sort of thinking about, Team A and Team B. Gaming has its team, and now people are going to think Team A might be better than Team B. Team fucking 1 and Team 2, right? Gaming has Team 1 and Team 2. And Team 1 and Team 2 both need to exist because it's important to hear all sides of a story. And if you only have Team 2, you're going to miss out on the side from Team 1. So I have no problem with that. My problem is that the corruption within the current Team 2, which is PC Gamer and the legacy media, is so deep that once sunlight does shine on it, it can do nothing but destroy it because its foundations are rotten as well. And it needs to morph into something better, hopefully at the end. But someone like that Alyssa Mercante chick, she should not be working in video gaming. She should just not. Every article I've ever seen from her is just so blatantly false, made up. She makes shit up. She invents stuff and then writes about it. And it's just like, wait, that's not counterculture. That's not offering an alternative viewpoint. That's just you inventing shit and claiming that this shit has happened to you, And I think that kind of stuff does need to die out. Do I think that we're going to lose the good with the bad? Yeah, we are, right? Yeah. There's going to be a lot of good people that get caught up in this that probably doesn't deserve to be caught up in it. But I'm always of the opinion that the good people will land on their feet. They will join places like Niche Gamer or whatever, and they'll land on their feet. They'll get back up and running. But the legacy media, in my opinion, is just sick. It's just an absolute shit show. Do you have anything final that you want to say on that topic before we move on?
No, I mean, I think I've made my point pretty clear. We're gonna disagree with this stuff.
Yeah,
that's fine. But,
no, obviously,
I don't want all of the websites to disappear. I would definitely not. Listen, Game Informer specifically, I use their release list every year. They have a release list that they're constantly updating of the games that are coming out. I used it every year pretty much to kind of keep tabs. Okay, that's coming next and that's coming next, blah, blah, blah. But not just that, there are other articles that they've done in the past. They've done extensive coverage on Monster Hunter World Iceborne, which was really good coverage. There's been articles on there that I care about. So yeah, I didn't want it to see them go. And very much even when Kotaku puts out hit pieces on fucking Stellar Blade, I'm like, that's also good for me because I can look at it and I can laugh at it and I can make a video talking about how they're fucking out of their goddamn minds. Even recently in one of my Cons Anvil shows, I also got to talk about how Alyssa Mercante made a review on Elden Ring and basically made it all about the harassment that she receives. And at the same time, she named one of the main defining things of the DLC, which is the Shadow Tree.
Yeah.
She said, at the distance, I see the Halic Tree, which is a completely separate tree that is not present in the DLC at all in any way, shape, or form. And she just completely wrote it wrong. And she even and the thing is, you could say, okay, so she just confused Shadow Tree with the Halic Tree. What's the big deal? The big deal is that she didn't just confuse it because she described the lore of the Halic Tree as if it was the Shadow Tree. And I was like, bro, this is just a fundamental misunderstanding on a very basic level. Because people can say, well, the lore of Elden Ring is complicated as fuck. Not when it comes to the fucking Shadow Tree not being the Halic Tree. These are two very different things.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But, I mean, that aside, I agree with you. There are some things that we can laugh at, but I also think that unsuspecting people get caught up and don't know how evil these people
100%.
are. And that's why I want them all to die. So, anyone starting that movement, I'm on your side.
There's evil people on our side too. There's people that are in the pockets of publishers on YouTube as well. Yeah. It's just like, it is what it is.
But I feel like they get exposed much quicker. But anyways, we'll move on to your favorite topic. I know we've established this last week. You're a massive Destiny 2 player, right?
Oh, I love talking about Destiny. It's my favorite topic.
It's your favorite game, right? It's your favorite game. Better than Monster Hunter.
100%, bro. Me and Destiny, we go way back. No, bro, fuck this game. And this is actually one of those situations where I know people are gonna give me shit, especially the big Destiny 2 fans. But it's like, bro, you guys are all better off. Trust me. Just creators are abandoning Destiny 2 in droves because basically Destiny 2 doesn't really have a future. It doesn't right now. So to give you an idea, I'm sure you're aware that there were like mass layoffs. I think we talked about this last week. The 220 people were laid off and all that stuff. So now it's also been exposed. Jason Schreier made like this big article, and the one that we're going over is actually Paul Tassi, because Paul Tassi is like a huge Destiny 2 fanboy. But that's the good thing, is that when you know the things that people like, then you can kind of like take the things that they say with a grain of salt. Very much like whenever I talk about Elden Ring and Monster Hunter, you already know that I'm biased.
Yeah.
So you already know that whatever I'm going to say, you're like, okay, but you really like this game. So,
but sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're right. Like with Elden Ring, I have to give it to you. You were right. It's a fucking phenomenal game.
I know, bro.
You're wrong on Monster Hunter, but you're right on Elden Ring.
You haven't played Monster Hunter.
And I never will. And I never will.
I'm gonna get you, bro. I'll fucking get you. Just do it. No, but so like with this Destiny stuff, right? So there's been these articles coming out that have been talking, and apparently the company is now in really dire straits. So here's a small excerpt of Paul Tassi's article where he talks about the future Destiny plans. Larger content packs, though not true expansions, will contain familiar elements like new destinations, raids, and campaigns, but on a much smaller scale on the whole. So basically, big Destiny 2 expansions, no more.
Of course.
Now it's just like little content patches.
So they're cutting back basically on all production.
Yeah, 100%. They're cutting it back.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the main release of any given year. Whenever they're releasing something, is going to be like these smaller content packs. Generally speaking, the idea is less sprawling one-off campaigns, so the big expansions, and a greater focus on replayable activities, the hobby aspects. So grindy things. Things that make players grind. That is
engagement,
the future
basically.
Of Destiny.
More engagement. Yeah.
More engagement. Now,
you know why they're doing that, right? You realize why they're doing that.
It's maintenance mode for Destiny.
It's maintenance mode, but it's also something far more nefarious than that. So on the one hand, you do have a bunch of employees have just been laid off. So clearly they no longer have the hands to do the big, beefy expansions. But then also, and this is something that you have to understand I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the viewers.
Yeah.
You have to understand this at a very basic foundational level. The entire gaming industry is informed by research that was done specifically by the mobile industry. And here's what they found. It's going to break your brain. It's profound. Players who play more, so spend more hours in a game, are more likely to spend money in a game.
No.
Yeah, I know.
I don't believe
stuff,
you.
Right? They actually paid experts to do the research to ensure, right, that this is indeed true.
It's almost like there's this other industry that operates in exactly the same way. What's the name of it? Oh, it's the gambling industry.
Yeah, very
just
similar,
like
actually.
Casinos.
But nothing
just like casinos. Keep them playing, and they always lose. The house always wins, baby. It's the same thing.
It's exactly like that. It's exactly like that, but not at all the same thing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
It's not like gambling at all.
It looks like gambling. It walks like gambling. It quacks like gambling.
It smells like gambling.
It smells like gambling, but it's not gambling. Don't worry.
It's like that. It's like that joke of the dude that like sees a piece of shit in the ground and he's like, it smells like shit. And then he puts his hand on it, like taps it, has the texture of shit, puts his finger in there. Tastes like shit. It's a good thing I didn't step on it.
Yeah, pretty much, right? But the reason they're doing this is so large expansions are great for an influx of players. We see this in World of Warcraft all the time, right? You have millions of players coming in right at the start. They finish the campaign and then they leave because they just wanted to see the story. Once the story was over, that's it. Those players, it's great for numbers, especially for something like World of Warcraft that has a subscription service, because if you can keep those players around for maybe 2 months, that's 2 months extra money that you're getting. Destiny 2 doesn't have a subscription service. It basically only relies on DLC and microtransactions, right? So those players coming in, while it takes a shit ton of work to develop that expansion and that storyline, those players mean, from a money perspective, very little to Destiny 2. So
because their whole thing is selling cosmetics and bullshit. And
so by shifting the focus to engagement mechanics, they are theoretically hoping that this will increase revenues. So revenues will go up.
But then they talk about other projects over at Bungie, because naturally the team at Bungie was absolutely gutted. And right now Bungie is working on, doing maintenance mode for Destiny 2, building up Marathon. But they had a couple of other projects that were in the back burner. And this was one of the most hilarious projects that I have seen. There was a game apparently being developed called Payback, which was a third-person adventure spin-off shooter, which was referred to by some people as akin to Genshin Impact.
Of course.
Which, of course, is something that fucking Bungie would do. Of course they fucking would. They would sell you all of those characters in gotcha spins. Of course they would. Very much like Genshin. Yes.
I'm surprised, dude. I'm surprised, but not for the reasons you might think. I'm surprised it took them this long.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only surprise here.
It's because they're incredibly incompetent at this company. And like, it's just disgusting, right? But anyway, it seems like that project was canceled. Two of the people that were like lead dudes in Destiny, they left the company because, since that was canceled, there was not a whole lot for them to do. They left. There's another project called Gummy Bears, which apparently is still being developed, which seems to be one of the most promising ones. It was deemed that Destiny 3 is considered too big of a risk in the current market. Of course it is, because you've driven the Destiny brand into the fucking ground by basically releasing Destiny 1 in a shit state. Do you know why Destiny 1 was so bad? Every time that they would have to do a small little change in their map, they would have to like remake the whole thing. People would have to download the whole game again. That was the thing. It's like, we need to shift this rock
design
like 10 meters into a different spot, and now people have to download the whole fucking client again.
That's
like
peak
that
design.
Game was designed piss poorly. It was terrible. Here's the thing. I still retain gunplay in Destiny, the best gunplay I've ever experienced. Best. Some people say Call of Duty. I don't like the gunplay in Call of Duty. I know that I'm weird like that, but Destiny gunplay, super satisfying. When you're popping off those headshots, it is some of the best headshot vibes that you can get. Super satisfying. Love it. But other than that, in terms of like, how rewarding it is to actually play the game, I always thought it was fucking terrible. It was atrocious. I have no idea what they were doing. But
I've tried playing Destiny multiple times, and I can never really get into it. The start of the game is so fucking grindy.
To it. Yeah, but I was addicted to it for a good long while. But, basically, the whole point was, their idea was, since you can't make Destiny 3, we should kind of like split off and do these offshoot projects. Like they wanted to do the Payback thing that we talked about. They're potentially doing something with PvE. They were thinking about making a NetEase game.
Of course.
Because of course you would get the skin job company to come in and skin job your fucking game. Fuck NetEase, dude. You know that there's a lot of people that actually defend NetEase. I'm like, no, bro, fuck that company. I don't give a fuck about them. You don't just listen. Diablo Immortal is still here, dude. It's still stuck fucking here. All right, fuck you. Fuck you from the bottom of my heart, bro.
The fact is, I can't wait for Bungie to die either.
Yes. See,
it's just,
that one I agree with you. Fuck him.
But the truth is, I think most of the AAA industry needs to die. Because...
well, actually, I don't know. Because the thing is, I don't look at a lot of the companies that I no longer care about. Like Blizzard, I'll look at I don't really look at Activision Blizzard. I look at like Diablo and Warcraft. These are like two things that I really care about. I don't even say StarCraft anymore because that's fucking dead.
Yeah, that's fucking dead as shit.
That's gone. Because otherwise I would also say in StarCraft. But, StarCraft's fucking dead.
Although I should say, and this is also a brand new story, I didn't even fucking add it on the list, but we can talk about it quickly. Should say, Microsoft has just now spun off a brand new team within Blizzard. And this team's...
to do AA games.
Yeah, this team's focus is AA games. Which I think is phenomenal, because that could actually be the catalyst for something like a StarCraft 3. Because most RTS is AA. You'd be fucking stupid to make a AAA RTS game. Not because RTS games aren't good, just to be clear. Love them. But they are very limited in audience. The audience for those aren't that massive. So...
Continuing the Destiny thing, basically things are looking pretty grim for Bungie, which, to be honest, I know that it sucks. It sucks for all the people that are probably still going to be losing their jobs. But like I've reported on pretty much since the latest situation happened. Like, listen, ever since their first layoff, not the first round of layoffs, but like one of their recent rounds of layoffs, like 8 months ago, ever since I reported on that, I said, Bungie needs to burn to the fucking ground. They're a terrible fucking... I mean, here's the thing. The developers... they're really talented because like the art in Destiny is awesome. The gameplay of Destiny is awesome. The business people are fucking scumbags. I don't know if it's their marketing team or whatever. There's probably like a monetization team. Those guys are fucking assholes and they drove your game into the fucking ground. And the fact that leadership allowed them to do that basically reveals to me that like, look, there's no saving Bungie. I understand there's a bunch of talented people out there. Shout out to them, bro. Animators, the gameplay experts, the design directors, all of this shit. These are all amazingly talented people. And, it is a testament to their talent that the game has lasted as long as it did, being as poorly fucking managed as it was. Like, literally, these people have been carrying this company on their fucking backs. They have. And, and what have the company done? Nothing. They haven't paid them bonuses. They lay them off. They fucking lay them off. This is why I've said from the beginning, like, I know it fucking sucks. I feel for you, bro. I really do. I'm super sorry that you're in this position. But guess what? I still want your company to fucking burn to the goddamn ground and disappear. Like, I'm sorry. It needs to happen because the monetization practices of Bungie are absolutely appalling and disgusting. And the literal manipulation that they do of their player base is even more disgusting because now we have another article which is hilarious. This one's hilarious. Apparently, Destiny 2 accidentally nerfed exotic loot drops as morale craters. It's almost as if, we need to keep these players around for longer. Well, what's the easiest way of doing it? It's simple. We don't give them fucking loot. Fuck them. They get nothing. Very much in the same way, by the way, in which they scammed players with the XP nerf that I never shut the fuck up about. The biggest thing that annoyed the fuck out of me with Destiny was how they nerfed XP gains so that people wouldn't be able to reliably farm cosmetic equipment. Okay? Fuck you for doing that back then, and fuck you for doing this now, because now they're saying, it was an accident. We've made a mistake, and somehow now loot isn't dropping as readily as it was before the patch. Oops. We'll fix it, we promise. It's like, no, motherfucker. You want to extract more engagement out of people. It is what it is. And again, I don't blame the developers. I blame the people on monetization because I assure you that is where this fucking came from. It's very much like we talked about. The casino, they keep people playing and the house always wins. It's the same fucking thing. And Bungie is the perfect example of that. Fuck you. Fuck whoever made this mistake for the players. And once again, I look forward to hearing about you motherfuckers going bankrupt. Die.
I cannot say it better myself, so I'll just leave it at that because I agree with everything. The nice thing, though, is that the developers that work at these companies that are good will find a new home, either in the indie space. Look, indies are ramping up, boys. I mean, the amount of indie games that's coming out, the tools that exist right now for indie developers. Say what you will about Unreal Engine 5, it does make game development a hell of a lot easier. And Unreal Engine 5 is inspiring some of the other engines out there, like Unity, to also start stepping up its offerings. So, all in all, I think the time has never been better to be an indie developer. And you see so many indie developers now basically going fucking mainstream. Palworld CEO just released in the last week an article where they basically spoke about, to this day, Palworld is basically printing fucking money. Like the CEO said, one of the first things that started to, like, one of the first temptations was to immediately spin up production, get more developers in-house, start ramping up, because Palworld is making money hand over fist. Still, after all this fucking time, it's still making money. I remember that was a very small team. I think it was made by like 7 or 8 people. Instead, they're sticking to the AA industry. They think that they can make better games sticking to AA than what they can make AAA. They think AAA budgets are just too big to really reliably make good games. And I'm, for one, sitting there going, yep, that makes sense to me. So there's a lot of people that's spinning up production in the indie space. So I think these developers are going to be fine. On to...
Here's just one thing that I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the developers will be fine. A lot of those developers will inevitably leave the gaming industry.
Yeah.
Because it's far too unstable of an industry. And maybe they're at an age where it's like, bro, I'm like fucking 40. I don't want to go through this roller coaster ride again. Fuck this shit. I'm leaving.
True.
And that is talent that we are losing forever.
Yeah, that's true. But
so it's like, even though I'm happy, and I know this sounds really fucking terrible to say, I'm happy that Bungie is shutting down because their business practices have been absolutely appalling. The real culprits are whoever is working on monetization in that country, in that company, and whoever happens to be in the C-suite. Those are the real culprits. But the talent and the brain drain, as Belilar usually talks about, the brain drain that we're going to be experiencing from this is absolutely terrible. Well, it fucking sucks. And I feel bad about it, but at the same time, if it works as a cautionary tale so that people don't keep putting up these fucking abusive monetization practices, then, too fucking bad, bro. Too fucking bad. It fucking sucks.
So there's a bunch of topics that we're not going to be able to get to today. Trust me, guys. We have actually probably another 2 hours worth of fucking podcast content here. But I want to keep these as close to 2 hours as possible, because, it just can't make sense. But there's at least one more topic that we must discuss, and that is Dragon Age Veilguard.
Okay.
So Dragon Age Veilguard, and if you want to discuss something else after this, we can do some quick discussions just for like 10 minutes or so. But basically, it's been revealed that you will not be able, and Rurikon was the one that made me aware of this news even, you'll not be able to control your companions in Dragon Age the Veilguard. This will mark, by the way, the first ever edition of Dragon Age where you cannot control your companions. The reasons given, and I'll get to your thoughts on this, Rurikon, in a second. The reason given was that combat in Dragon Age the Veilguard is going to be so involved and so advanced that you will not have time to control the combat of your or the actions of your companions. Your companions are completely their own individual beings. You are you're the Rook, and Rook is the main character that's playing through this whole thing. What are your thoughts?
So Karine, I think her name is Karine Bush, who is someone from BioWare who's in charge of all this stuff.
Yeah, I think she's the director of the game.
Okay, she's the game director. So she says Veilguard is a much higher actions per minute game. It is more technically demanding on the player. Apparently, during playtesting, it was found that letting people control the companions wasn't actually adding to the experience. In fact, in some ways, it was detrimental. So one of the first things that I need to ask is like, does this mean that we can't like press spacebar to pause, which is the way that we've always played Dragon Age?
Yeah.
Now,
I'm pretty much, that's stayed.
I also want to point out that like this doesn't affect me at all, because traditionally the way in which I play games that you have multiple companions is I just either play the main character of that game, or I play a character that I'm personally interested in, and I prefer to manipulate the AI to do their own thing as much as I possibly can. And then at some points, if I just see like, okay, you guys doing a piss poor job, let me take over and let me fix the way in which you guys are playing. But basically, if the AI is good enough to do their thing and I can just focus on playing my character, that's the way that I prefer to play. But having said that, I can recognize that that's just not the kind of game that Dragon Age has been. No. Dragon Age has always been about people playing multiple characters. So just because I play it like this and I like playing it like this, I don't think that should be the only way to play it, because I know for a fact that a huge percentage of players that play Dragon Age, they want to be able to control all of the characters. Yeah, and I think that's a terrible idea to just unilaterally decide that, like, actually, you think you do, but you don't.
Yeah.
You know, not to mention that on top of it, if you watched the first gameplay trailer that they've revealed, that is a terrible showcase for this fucking argument, because your character has literally one fucking ability and that's it. There's nothing else. Yeah, but your character has one ability and you press that one ability and it's like, oh, I'm so engaged in pressing this one button.
But you don't understand, Rurikon. You don't understand. You're going to spam that one ability.
And that's where the APM comes from.
Yeah. It's actions per minute. It's pressing that button fast. You remember those old games, those old, like, super old console games where you would run athletics, you would sprint, and then you would have to hit 2 buttons for your guy to run. So you would get like a coin or something and you would just fucking...
Yeah.
That's the game, right? So you're going to make a thing that just presses that button. I remember having my PlayStation 1, but I remember my PlayStation 1 controller on like it was Olympic something was the game. That controller, the keys were cracked in the middle as a result of this gap that I had, that I fucking just...
I remember doing that. Was it on a Nintendo or something? And the way that I would do it is I just put my fingers kind of like this.
Yeah, you would hold your finger.
The tip of each of your nails would hit one of the buttons, and then you just go like super fast. Here's the way that I'm looking at it, right? Unless you're talking about the complexity of like a Final Fantasy 14 rotation where you really need to be engaged and you got to be like, okay, so I do my 1, 2, 3, and then I got this resource, and then I got to do this thing, because like the rotations of 14, those can get pretty fucking complex depending on the class that you're playing. Like some classes, it almost looks like you're playing a goddamn piano. You're just like, pressing all these goddamn buttons. You know, I don't think that's what this game is going to be. So I don't know. Here's
the thing for me.
As a matter of fact, thinking about this, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like it almost makes me think that the reason they did it is because there's going to be certain amounts of variation on the main character's class, depending on the class that he chooses. Yeah. And they weren't able to adequately program an AI to take over your main character as you take over the other characters. And so people probably realize like, oh, I was trying to play this other character and my character just like stood there getting smashed in the face and did nothing. It's like,
I would argue. So here's my thinking on it. It is important when you come up with a sequel to a game that you contain or preserve the original integrity of the game. If you're going to come up with Baldur's Gate 4 should probably not be an action RPG. Right? Like that would be a good idea. Let's not make Baldur's Gate 4 Diablo. Baldur's Gate is a CRPG.
There's an argument for that, but that's the same argument that people like to bring up, for instance, on Final Fantasy 16, which I disagree, because I thought 16 was fucking awesome.
No. But there's a difference. There's a major difference. Final Fantasy 16 isn't a sequel to anything because the Final Fantasy games exist in their own universes, right? So,
point made.
I mean, as long as the game continues to have a story, which is the whole point of Final Fantasy games, you can pretty much experiment as much as you want. Dragon Age is an established game. They've already made major changes from 1 to 2. In 1, it was a CRPG, classic role-playing game. From 2 on, they started to experiment a lot more with action combat as being at least an element of it. You could always pause in the middle of combat just to make sure that everything is there, but there was this more action combat idea. This is now the evolution of that. I have no problem with that. The way they describe it, though, it makes me think of Dragon's Dogma in many ways, because Dragon's Dogma is similar in the way it wants to do it, but here's my problem. Dragon's Dogma works because the AI in that game is fucking phenomenal. I mean, the AI in that game is next level. You do something and the AI literally learns as you do and starts doing the exact same things. I don't trust EA to get that right. I don't believe.
Not to mention that, like, the combat of Dragon's Dogma is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the combat that I saw for Veilguard is like, bro, you're like 10 years away from coming close to the combat in Dragon's Dogma. I'm sorry, brother.
What I wouldn't mind, and if they want to go through with this is not a make or break for me in terms of the game, because story is why I play Dragon Age games.
Doesn't bother me at all, because I don't even usually control the other characters. I'm just being understanding of other players that would be like, well, actually,
But I think that ship has sailed anyways with Inquisition. With Inquisition already, the CRPG element of it was mainly dead. And one of the things that I would like to see, if this is the direction that they're going, which we now know it is, are they going to do away with the AI tactics formulation mechanics that you had in the old Dragon Age games?
That's one of my favorite things about these games is, like, let me really get into the nitty gritty of how these characters are going to work so that I can really get their behavior down.
I loved that with Origins. I think it was Origins. It may have been 2, but I think in Origins, you could literally go in and say, right, I want my tank to use these abilities when this happens, and this ability when that happens. And I want to, so you train the AI effectively to act the way that you would act in given scenarios. And then the only time you really take over is if your tank is doing the opposite of what the fuck you needed to do right now in some niche situation, as you explained. We're gonna have to wait and see, right? Is this something that they're willing to do? Is this something that they're going to do? Or is this gonna be just a shit show of them looking at the success of Dragon's Dogma, thinking that they can do something similar to that with their action combat, and realizing that Dragon's Dogma is Dragon's Dogma because it's what they specialize in. It's what they do. And they do it really well because it's what they do. Because it's sort of like all these clones with Souls-like games. The one thing they all get wrong is none of them realize how fucking difficult it actually is to do combat well. Like, actually, the combat of Elden Ring looks easy on the surface. When you just get into it, I'm pressing my button, it's swinging the sword. Who gives a fuck? I hold shift, it does a heavy attack. But when you really get into it, you start to realize there's a flow to things. There's an animation flow to things. You can go into a heavy attack, into a fast attack, and if you time it correctly, the fast attack is actually faster than just a normal fast. It's like there's so much that goes into this game that the boss enemy and the frame times. This is why literally things are calculated in frame times. How many frames does this block take? It's important to know this because it's going to influence how you block the fucking attack and what that block is going to do to the attack, right? Parry, same thing. How many frames do you have to parry that attack, to do it perfectly, to get that perfect parry so that you can counter? These things matter. And unless you understand the nitty-gritty of that, you're going to kick yourself in the nuts, most likely as a result of your bullshit. We'll see if they can nail it. I am not filled with hope on that because
yeah, like I said, I think I'm still a part of the EA creator program, which means I can probably just get the game and then, tell people about whether I think it's good or not, because I wouldn't buy it. not like this. Maybe after I've played it, I'm like, actually, it's not that bad. Or maybe I'll play it and be like, actually, yeah, it is that bad. Never mind.
Yeah. All right. So on to some quick discussions here. Just going to throw that out there because me and Rurikon basically, I think we have the same impression on this. Borderlands movie. I don't know if you knew this, Rurikon, but it fails hard.
Yeah, it's almost like Borderlands doesn't really have an interesting story. It's just a bunch of like dick jokes. It's not even dick jokes, but you get it. It's like a bunch of slapstick humor, a couple of jokes here and there. And basically the fun part of Borderlands is just getting these cool ass weapons that blow shit up, and that's it. And so they're like, oh no, let's make a story out of it. And then they make a story, and it's like, yeah, nobody actually cares about any of this. Not to mention that, to me, the weirdest thing is the actress who plays Lilith, Kate Blanchett. Like, look, I'm sorry that I have to say this. I don't mean to be rude. I know that women are very sensitive about this, but you're just too damn old for that role. Like, I'm sorry. Like, listen, you're not going to see me play the role of Tiny Tina. Because number one, I'm a man. Number two, I'm also too fucking old to be Tiny Tina. It wouldn't make any fucking sense. If there was a male version of Tiny Tina, I also wouldn't play her. So it's like, there's that. And, it just, I've never thought of like, oh, I can't wait to watch a Borderlands movie.
Yeah.
Like, no, bro, Borderland 1 was a ton of fun. I played through the entirety of Borderlands 2, loved it. Never touched it again, because after I've played Borderlands 2, I was like, this is enough Borderlands to last me a lifetime.
Yeah.
Never played 3.
I
never played any of the, what do you call it, Telltale games or whatever. Because I don't care. Because like the story is just not that interesting. The only part that I even remember of the story is Butt Stallion, which is a diamond horse.
I don't know anything about anything. Like I've never played Borderlands.
He's called Butt Stallion. That's it. That's the only thing I know about the story. Butt Stallion.
I think it's just another example of the absolute degeneracy of Hollywood and their bankruptcy of anything good. What I don't understand is you have the perfect blueprint right in front of you for turning a video game into a movie. The D&D movie was fucking phenomenal. It was so well done. Do yourself a favor. No Honor Among Thieves. It is funny. It has the comedic moments is phenomenal. The story is phenomenal. It is good. It is such a good film. Do yourself a favor. It's so fun to watch as well. Because you see a lot of the things that's in Baldur's Gate as well in there, right? There's this one scene where these little, those mind creatures, you meet them right in the beginning of Baldur's Gate. That's the creature that you can either stick your thumb into it and sort of cripple it, or you can just, it's the brain.
Oh, yeah, the brain, yeah.
Yeah, these brain creatures are walking past them and they're like, they're attracted to intelligence. Don't think anything. And he's standing there and they're just ignoring them. And he goes, well, that's a little insulting. It's like moments like that where you just go, dude, this is such a fucking amazing movie. But yeah, I would say absolutely watch it if you haven't. But that's a good example of how you make a movie in a universe that is established in video games. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with Borderlands. All of the comments I saw about this is just people basically complaining that first and foremost, the direction makes no sense in this movie. The story is bland as shit. And then the actors are too old. The people that they cast in the movie is way too old to be playing the characters that they want to play.
Yeah, like, I mean, you look at Lilith in the game. I don't know what Lilith's age is in the game, but she looks 20. I heard that the actress, I think, is called Kate Blanchett, right? I think that's her.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett.
Let me just see real quick. Kate Blanchett, she is 55.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, let's just cast a 55-year-old actress to play a 20-year-old character. It's like, bro, come on. Like, what are we doing?
Fucking bullshit.
Although I will say, to her credit, I've heard that she played like the whole game to kind of like get an idea of how to play the character. So, respect for that.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that, but still, it would be like casting me as Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. I could have watched the play. I am very
attracted to you.
But the problem is I'm not quite what you would expect to find as Juliet, right?
You're the perfect Juliet for me, come on.
Oh, bro, you complete me. But I will not be drinking poison for you, just to be clear.
Oh, man. No, Romeo's the one who drinks poison, though. So yeah, I would drink poison for you. See, there you go.
Juliet dies as well. I can't remember even. It's been years.
Yeah, she drinks the rest of the poison. If I'm not mistaken, it goes Juliet drinks the fake poison that puts her to sleep. And then Romeo he drinks the real poison and dies. And then Juliet wakes up and he's dead. She drinks the rest of his. Oh, or does she stab herself? I don't know.
All I know is she deletes herself from the game permanently. But okay, so Borderlands failed movie, couldn't have happened to a worse movie. On to just one final, 2 more year, actually. We have Warner Brothers revenue down 41%. Who could have predicted this, since the last game they launched was Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Such a fantastic live service game that everybody was asking for. What do you mean? Everybody wanted this movie with...
Can I just say something before you... Because this is going to make you laugh, Logan. You're going to find this super fucking hilarious. The CEO, a few months ago, of Warner Brother Gaming said that while the success of Hogwarts Legacy is not to be understated, he firmly believes that live service games is the future of gaming. Now, I will remind you all that when Hogwarts Legacy came out, Warner Brother Games revenue spiked significantly. That game really drove Warner Brothers revenue. Now their live service offering, which remember is the future of video games, has basically fucking tanked the studio.
Which, by the way, we compared that at their highest peak, they couldn't reach the current concurrent players of Dark Souls 1.
Yep.
From 2011.
Yep.
13 years ago.
Hey, that's the future of gaming. I guess the future of gaming is no game studios.
Fucking joke, dude. It's like I think these companies, they basically don't understand the concept that there's only a limited amount of gamers out there. And if they have a live service game, they might be able to keep up with 2 live service games.
Yeah.
Maybe. Unless you're a complete no-lifer, then you can do 3 or 4.
Dude,
and this is tops. And everybody thinks that no, I'm going to get somebody to quit World of Warcraft. Good fucking luck, buddy. Those people have been playing the game for 20 fucking years and you think you're going to get them to quit?
Dude, I do this for a living. And I don't even have time to play World of Warcraft properly.
Exactly. Listen,
this is my life.
The other thing. Listen, I've been trying to play through Final Fantasy 14. I'm only level 94.
Well, there you go. I don't have the time. I don't know where the fuck other people get the time to do this, because this is what I do for a living, and I don't even have time for all of the fucking live service games.
It's insane. And then not to mention that just the story of this game is apparently not very good.
No.
The characters are just... The fact that Captain Boomerang is able to beat the shit out of the Flash, I'm just bro...
No, but
makes sense.
The thing with Suicide Squad is, again, this is the clearest example of go woke, go broke. This is just it, right? They told the gamers, we don't want you. If you're white and you're male, you can go fuck yourself. And
is that something that happened with this game?
Dude, this is the game that started Gamergate 2.
Oh, God.
This is the game that kicked it all off, because people started to look at the credits, and in the credits, there's a thank you note to Sweet Baby Inc. And people are like, what the fuck is Sweet Baby Inc.? So people started to dig, and they're like, wait a second, these are woke consultants.
So here's another interesting thing about this game that's apparently been leaked, is that even though the story itself is pretty bad by all intents, apparently the superheroes that they've been killing, again, this is an unconfirmed leak, they're not even the actual heroes, they are clones.
Of course they are.
Of course, because you can't kill Superman or Batman. Or it's just like, bro, this game, it just feels like an escalating train crash. Every time I look at it, it just like crashes a little bit harder. And, you know, it's just like, bro, whatever the fuck, you know, you get what you fucking deserve. Like, your players asked you for something in the vein of Arkham, and you were just like, no, we're going to give you live service Borderlands.
Yeah.
Or something, or live service Destiny.
And don't forget, we're going to charge it politically to the point where most non-political gamers will not be able to stomach this bullshit. Because it's all just politics all the way down. You have one topic here that I assume you wanted to quickly cover. Bandai Namco.
Let's get... Yeah, Bandai Namco. Their profits rose by 56%.
But why?
During Q1. Because Shadow of the Erdtree, baby. Bandai Namco are the publishers of From Software's Shadow of the Erdtree.
Well, it can't be. You're lying to me.
Yeah.
Because it's not a live service game, bro. I was informed reliably that only live service games is the future of gaming. What are you talking about?
No, I'm sorry, bro. It turns out that they actually have like numbers here, I think. Publisher saw a boost in its digital entertainment sales. By the way, this is not just Shadow of the Erdtree, because Bandai Namco also has other projects, but like Shadow of the Erdtree was probably like one of the
most likely
contributors. Yeah, they increased it by 55.8% or 56%. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bandai Namco previously told GamesIndustry.biz that it expected the DLC to make a significant impact on the sales of Elden Ring. So because the DLC is so good that it didn't just sell the DLC, it also sold the game itself. It got you to play
I'm playing it because of Shadow of the Erdtree. I haven't even bought the expansion yet. I still have to buy the expansion. So I'll be attributing to their quarter 2 or 3 earnings at some point.
But yeah, isn't it interesting how these two stories kind of like, hey, we have these guys who went all in on the notion that live service is the future, and their shit went down 41%. And then you have these guys that don't give a fuck about whatever everybody else says, and they're just like, we're going to make one big old school expansion, and their profits rose by 56%. I don't know, man. Dude, I don't know.
It is the perfect example of, again, just make a good game and players will play it. Don't politically charge your fucking video games, because there's no political bullshit in Elden Ring. It's just a game that you play and it's good. It's fun. You go in there and you kill some shit, or more likely you get killed a bunch. And people fucking love it.
And by the way, here's an interesting thing, just to kind of like muddy the waters a little bit on this whole discussion. There are characters in Elden Ring that can be considered trans characters.
Yeah, but dude, anyone.
And the difference is they're not tokenized.
But this is
which is what a lot of these other games are doing. They're tokenizing everything.
But remember,
here's the thing, because some people might say like, "Oh, looks like From Software is also starting to dive in." It's like, no, Dark Souls 1 featured a trans character in 2011, but again, it wasn't tokenized. Hell, it was an optional character. You might have even completely missed it.
I will say this. If you really think, and I've said this before, if you really think gamers have a fucking problem with gay characters or trans characters, then you need to explain the success of Baldur's Gate. You need to explain the success of Cyberpunk 2077.
Bro, fucking Gale wanted to jump on my pants every chance he could, dude.
And
that dude was like, he was looking at my dwarf and he was going like, looking mighty fine, dude, looking like a snack.
Dude, I loved Gale's interactions now that I think back on it. At the time, I fucking hated it because I just wanted Shadowheart and I couldn't give two fucks about this dude thinking we're in love. But now that I think back on it, some of those were so fucking funny. Like some of those interactions were hilarious. So
I think some of it was actually bugged because they said that they had to fix Gale because Gale was a little bit too horny all the time.
Not just
like
Gale,
I remember at one point, like I was in immediately after battle, like my character covered in viscera, literally covered in viscera, and Gale's like, man, I'd love to just like take you out behind that bush and fucking and I was like, bro, I'm covered in viscera. Stop.
No, but I mean, fundamentally, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna learn, hopefully, or they're gonna close down. It's as simple as that. Do you want anything else to be talked about? Because it's 2.5 hours.
Monster Hunter Wilds, bro. It's Monster Hunter Wilds season.
Okay.
Dude,
quickly,
we are getting weapon trailers for every single weapon from now until Gamescom, at which point we're going to be getting a brand new trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds. So it's a good time to be a Monster Hunter fan, bro. Yesterday, they released the Gun Lance breakthrough. Dude, it's so good, dude. The Gun Lance is my main weapon, bro. It's got glorious explosions. It looks like a new weapon. I love it. And it was awesome to see because here's an interesting thing, right? You go to the official video where they released this on YouTube, and there's just a bunch of comments of people saying like, oh, look, it's Rurikon Day. Because everybody knows that the gunlets. There's just like a bunch of comments. And then I was like getting linked, like people on Facebook were talking about, oh, it's the Rurikon. I don't even have a Facebook account. So I was like, I love the community. I love you guys. Mwah. Love you. Okay? It was awesome. Mean, it was fantastic.
I know nothing about Monster Hunter, so congratulations to the Monster Hunter fans.
We'll fix that. We'll fix that, Akalon. Don't worry about it. We're going to play Monster Hunter Wilds. It's all good, brother.
I doubt it.
Next year.
We'll see.
No, you will.
We'll see.
You will.
But no, ladies and gentlemen, to all of the Monster Hunter fans, I'm so happy that you are getting these videos. I hope you enjoy them. It's good when, even if I'm not a fan, it's good to see that there are still games out there that care about their communities, care about their players, and actually want to give their players the best things that they can. To all of the gaming companies out there that are scumbags and keep hating the video gamers, stop. Learn from the successes of companies like Bandai Namco. Learn from the successes of Monster Hunter, Cyberpunk. Learn from it. Take it to heart. Larian Studios. And fucking stop making good games again.
From software.
From software.
Just gonna keep rattling.
Yeah, just, learn from it, copy it, start doing it, and stop with the political bullshit. No one cares. Who you vote for is your problem. It's got nothing to do with the rest of us. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for spending the last 2.5 hours with me and Rurikon. Thank you so much for being here. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and we will see all of you in the next one. And if you watched until now, right at the end, you're a fucking trooper. Let us know in the comment section down below that you watched right until the end. We'd love to see that. Anyways, peace.